We ready to go?
I'm not sure that we're broadcasting to YouTube yet.
We are, it says in the corner.
Oh, yes, we are. My bad. Thank you.
That's all right. Lots of admissions coming out of this chamber, this austere group this evening, including myself.
All right. Well, I see 25 attendees. I see plenty of commissioners. We have our featured guest speaker. Commander, nice to see you. Julia, nice to see you. All right, let's kick it off. Mr. Robertson, if you're ready. We invited Anthony Robertson to be our guest speaker this week. There have been some changes in the Mayor's Office of Community Relations and Services, commonly called MOCRS. There's a new position of ward manager, as well as the ward liaison that we have enjoyed previously. So we were hoping Anthony could come and tell us a bit about the changes internally and what we can expect in terms of our relationship, not only as a commission, but of course, just as residents in Ward 1, and how you, the liaisons and the managers are working together, and where we should direct our comments and outreach, and how you're dividing labor and all of that. So love to hear a little bit about your new position and how things are working internally. And then of course, I'm sure commissioners will have questions. So we'll leave time for that.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to join y'all. I'm Anthony Robinson, new Ward 1 manager for the mayor's office. Right now, what we're looking at is that me and Ms. Foreman, we will be working together to serve the great Ward 1. And as far as any changes, there's not really going to be a lot of changes. It's just different structure inside the office. So we're going to still be working together as a team, and we're going to come to the meetings, coming out, resolving the constituents' issues. And right now, I don't know if I don't have any announcements from the mayor's office. It's just that I'm just having my introduction. Just me. I'm a Washingtonian. I've been here my whole life, from Ward 8, and I've worked in Ward 1 for the last 10 plus years on 14th and U. So I'm very familiar with the area, Leroy Park area. I'm very familiar with. It's the 16th and Columbia. So I have a lot more to explore, but I look forward to it. And that is basically my introduction.
Could you tell us a little bit about, I guess, your responsibilities and yeah, how that is maybe a little different from what is in the past with our MOCRs, and then what the community can expect and how much they can expect to maybe hear from you?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I can't speak on that. I do know that part. So with the structure the way it is now, me and Ms. Foreman, we will be working as a team together. I apologize for that. I thought I muted that, but I apparently didn't. Wait 1 second so I can mute that. All right. Yes, as I'm saying, me and Ms. Foreman, we were working together. So far as where I'm at is that I'll be in the community, coming out doing sweeps, doing the walks, and putting eyes and boots on the ground as far as the issues and everything, and just taking everything in and making sure that we can get the right resources and get the right agencies plugged in. If y'all see me looking to the side, I'm looking at the monitor because I just want to let everybody know I am paying attention. I'm looking at the monitor. Um, So yeah, that's my responsibility will be just to make sure that it gets done. That if we have problems, that's just with the agencies, anything that I can help facilitate that and get things moving so we're not so backed up on constituent issues and problems in the community. Did everybody hear me? Oh, yes. I'm sorry. I'm just making.
So is
Did
there a
I
difference
answer?
in the ward manager position and the ward liaison, or you guys are kind of just working cooperatively, the two together?
Well, yes. Well, the difference isn't anything external. Is that you would notice on the outside. So yes, we're just working together. The difference more so is in the office or the structure of the way it is. So we're working together, and that's everything in Ward One. If something happens, it does come to me. Um, but we are working together as a team.
So in terms of scheduling in the future, because I'm sure you know, we usually have we always reserve some time at the end of our meetings for Moker staff to come and speak. Sometimes we would expect it would be you, sometimes her, or how does our workflow work?
So we're still going to work out the schedule, but someone will be here. I heard before we started that it's been like a couple of months before Mogus has actually been participating in this, and I want to apologize for that. And that will not be the case moving forward. So I can't give you the schedule right now, but what I can give you is that someone will be available to make sure that we are participating in the process and making sure that we're able to get the message out and get the message from the community.
Okay, do you have any questions from commissioners before we move on to community questions per usual?
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Commissioner Chauvin?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Robertson. Could you tell me what you've been doing? Have you been working with the mayor or other government positions within, agencies? And then secondly, do you have a specialty that you bring to the table within that realm? And then lastly, how can you, I think part of the issue is it's a tough job you have because there's so many demands. How can you bring focus to our needs here in 1B?
No problem. I'll try to answer these. In the order they came. So no, I have not. This is my first time in government. My life has been spent in the private sector, and I have over 30 years of customer service and getting the job done, management, um, and all the above when it comes to that. So I'm definitely up to the task, and I'm a Washingtonian, so I have the passion to actually want to see the city safe, clean, this in better condition. So I have um, a personal interest in this also, as far as just making sure that our city is safe and it's clean, that all our constituents, including my family, everybody's getting what they're supposed to get, and they are in a place where they can feel safe to move around. And like I said, one of my main things, my little, is the safe and clean thing. Like that's my little thing. That's my little niche. But I hope that answered all the questions, all the, about me. But I have 30 years in customer service, and what I bring is someone who's going to be boots on the ground. Someone who's going to be a consistent partner, reliable partner, someone that will make sure that if I tell you something, that's what it is. I'm not going to promise anything that I know that I can't do or anything like that. What I will do is I'll make sure I'll communicate regularly and consistently, and make sure that when um, the mayor office is needed, that y'all have that assistance readily available.
Thank you. And then just one quick follow-up. What, if you would, I'm sorry, Safe and Clean, what exactly is that program that you're interested in?
It's not. It's program. This is what I want to see with Washington, with DC. I've lived here my whole life. I want to be able to. I want the residents to experience in DC that I know we can have. There's somewhere you can go out and be safe, and it can all and the streets can be clean. Because I know a lot of the residents they have reservations about just the communities, the way the things are going, as far as just violence and stuff like that. So that's one of my pet peeves is just I want to live in a city that's safe and clean. Nothing extra is what I'm saying.
I hear you. Thank you. And several of my constituents on this call love those words, so they appreciate it. And thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Well, tell them I'm Washingtonian. It's for me and my family also. So we here with you. We in it together. Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any other commissioner questions? Oh, Commissioner Kensick, please take the floor.
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say welcome. I'm looking forward to working with you. Just remember 1B05, even though 1B is important, of course. 1B05. Let's do coffee soon. Looking forward to working with you.
Looking forward to it. Yes, sir.
Yes,
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Any other commissioners with questions?
Actually, I have one. I apologize. I should have raised my hand, if that's okay. Yeah, as Commissioner Kensek alluded to, I think what could be great is if we could do some sort of introductory walks, maybe joint SMDs, so that you can kind of get more familiar with 1B. Community members can come out and discuss some of their concerns. I know Gerard used to host them probably about a year ago. Anthony Moore, our even prior to that, Mocher would host them as well too. So if you would be open to that, I'm sure community members and commissioners would love to do those with you.
Yes, ma'am. I'm definitely open to it, but I want to make sure that I can consult with my partner and my doctor to make sure that we are all on the same page. But yes, that sounds like a great idea to me.
Great. We'll follow up via email
No
to try to
problem.
get those coordinated.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, if there are no other commissioner questions, let's move on to community members. I see Elaine with a hand up. Cedric, can you help me? Yep, thank you. Elaine, you can unmute yourself. Elaine, you're unmuted, but we're not hearing you. Uh-oh. Elaine, you're showing as unmuted, but we're not hearing you, so maybe your device microphone is off somehow. All right. Are there any other questions in the meantime from commissioners or community members? Cedric, do you mind sending her a message, Elaine? Just to let her know that we're not able to hear her. Looks like a device problem on her end.
Mr. Robertson, would you be able to drop your contact information into the chat? And then Cedric, if you'd be able to post that for everyone to have, just so community members, if anything were to come up, obviously we know that you would need to pass it to Ms. Foreman as well to share any or collaborate on any thing. But if you could post your contact info, I know that would be really helpful for community members and commissioners, although I think we already have your contact info.
No problem. Yes, ma'am. I thought that we I thought that it was already been put in there, but no problem. I'll take care of that.
Then I know that you just started, but is there anything for the rest of the month that the community should be aware of that's happening um with the mayor or any other agency?
No, ma'am, not at this time. Well, I know they can be expecting from me. They expect to see me in the ward for a lot, so they can expect to see that. But now, no other from the mayor's office at this time.
Well, seeing no further questions and no luck with Elaine, would we be?
I was able to get Elaine's question via text. She was just requesting that we set up a meeting with you, Anthony, to talk about some of the challenges at 6th and T Street, which is a pretty hot topic for Frank and myself and other commissioners. So we will specific to some of the establishments, including Shaw Howard Deli. So I'll follow up with that offline. Thanks, Elaine.
If nothing else, perhaps I would suggest that we recess for 10 minutes until the meeting begins at 7.
Yep, we can turn off cameras and we'll be back at the official start date. Time, not date.
And I'll drop that in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your intro and for joining us tonight.
Thank y'all so much. If I sound a little nervous, I am, but I'll
That's okay.
I'll get it together. I'll get it together.
It's okay. What did you say? This was your second week?
Like really, like this is my first meeting. This is my first, this is the first.
Was this
But
your first ANC meeting?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, there you go. It's okay. It's all right. Thank you again and look forward to having you at other meetings.
Likewise, I look forward to seeing everyone.
And if our attendees didn't catch that, we will just be breaking for a little bit, for about 9 minutes, until 7 p.m. for our official start time for the meeting. The commissioner is there. It's 7 p.m. We have you, Commissioner Handerhan. Yeah, I'll give a few more seconds. All right. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at our July meeting. We just had our info session with Mr. Robertson, who is the Ward 1 manager for Mokers. But with that, I call this meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. Mr. Secretary, would you please call the roll?
With pleasure, Commissioner Handerhan,
Present.
Commissioner Chauvin,
Present.
Commissioner Sycamore.
Here.
Love the view. Commissioner Lakatos is absent. Commissioner Kensick.
Present.
I am present. Commissioner Fields.
Present.
Chair Harris.
Present.
And Commissioner Jones.
Present.
With 8 commissioners out of 9 present, we have quorum.
Thank you. Commissioners, if you have an agenda before you, do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Commissioners, you also have a consent agenda with the approval of the prior meeting minutes, and then a speaking time of 2 comments of 2 minutes each for commissioners and community members, with an additional 20-second comment at the discretion of the chair per topic. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Do we have a second? Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. We also have, I don't believe we have any financial reports. Commissioner Trindade Geramo, is that correct? I know you're,
Yes.
okay, great. Moving on to committee reports. Commissioner Fields, and sorry, I do want to call out Commissioner Fields. It seems that we do have Commander Butler in the audience, so I don't know, and there's 2 commanders, so I don't know if he would like to speak or if it's someone else, but if you can maybe raise your hand, whoever's the real Commander Butler. I just wanted to note that I know that we've tried to have MPD come and speak. So if we can potentially see, oh, there we go. Okay. Cedric, can you go ahead and promote? Great.
Good evening. How are y'all? This is Lieutenant Hawkins.
Hi, thank you for joining us, Lieutenant Hawkins.
No problem. We work in NATO, so we're a little busy, so I'm multitasking, but I'm here for you.
Appreciate you joining us this evening.
No problem. Was it anything in particular that you had, or you just want me to kind of go with what I had recently?
Just on public safety and community engagement, there was one question about 2 shootings on 17th and U Street. So they were wondering if you could address that on the call, and maybe just also talk about the U Street Task Force a little bit and some updates on what you guys have been seeing in the area.
You said 17th and U?
Yes, that was a mention from someone on our committee call last week.
Okay, I'm not familiar with anything recent. I know the U Street quarter, we are definitely on top of that for the nightlife. The nightlife has been handling that. I don't know anything current for 17th and U. But I'll check into it and let you guys know. I'll send an email. Or if you can send the information that you have, I'll check with Captain Murphy and Commander Butler to see if they have any updates for that.
And before we get into any commissioner questions, if you can provide maybe any quick updates that you have, and then we'll move into commissioner questions, if that's okay.
Okay, I don't have any current updates. We're still, doing special attention to V Street. There was a assault with robbery, but that was closed with the arrest. I think the address was 249 V Street. 2921 Georgia Avenue, we had a burglary, but that's still open and pending investigation. The U Street quarters, as I said, the nightlife is handling that. We are pretty much U Street is shut down during the nightclub hours. We are partnering, I believe, with Metro, and somebody else was out there. I'm not sure, but particulars, but we do have other resources that's out there helping us try to maintain the crowds. Hobart, I think, was a big question that I had last week from a community member. We're still paying special attention to that, trying to get more lighting in that area. If someone is on a call that could help us out far as being able to get resources to get extra lighting there, that would be helpful. But we are working on it. Other than that, I don't have anything else.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Where do you need additional community support and feedback?
The 500 block of Hobart Street. It was a concern there that in the alleys there's not enough lighting. And like I said, I'm not in front of my computer, so I can't give you the exact address, but I know that area was a concern of a citizen, far as drug activity and the lighting there being poor.
Okay. I think that might is that in anyone's SMD Hobart Place? I feel like that's right outside of these boundaries, but if anyone has any ideas on that or has heard any community feedback, even though it's outside of 1B, I'm sure the feedback would be appreciated. So if we hear anything, we will absolutely surface that.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying that's all I have.
Okay. Commissioner Chauvin.
Yes, good evening.
I'm sorry. I will have to hop off briefly for a brief second. I was wondering if I could get my updates as well before we go into questions.
Are you able to hop back in once the only thing is
Thank you. I'm just
there's like a conflicting of, I'm sure there's things with NATO and you have yours. Can you hop in 2 minutes?
I'm right there, guys. Sorry about that.
sure. Yeah, I can wait. I'll let you guys go ahead.
I just know that we've all wanted MPD present, so I want to give a little bit of time to that.
Yeah, I just have a quick question on curfew and wondering what resources and attention is being undertaken, especially around the African American Civil War Memorial entry to the U Street Metro. Is WMATA Metro Police deployed here, and what other measures are being undertaken due to the large juvenile crowds that have been showing their annual heads now that the school is out, and they can cause quite a bit of controversy and activity that's not above board, including somebody shot. Actually, several juveniles had guns. One was sent to the hospital with gun wounds. Can you give me an update there? Thank you.
As far as the curfews, we still have curfews in effect. So every night we have a curfew officer maintaining the areas. Far as the shooting, not familiar with that at this time, but I can get more information to you. But far as the memorial, I'm not sure who is actually handling that, but it's still pending investigation also. But far as the curfews, we're definitely manning it. Special attention, Secret Service is out there, Park Police. We are all playing a part in trying to maintain that area.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other commissioner questions? Commissioner Shundade Durama.
I just want to put a pin in that. I would like us to have Commissioner Fields, of course, give her update before she has to go. But just wanted to flag that the MPD U.S. Park Police coordination has been an issue in my district with Meridian Hill Malcolm X Park. So actually, I would love to connect offline. I don't know if it would be with the commander or with you, sort of understand how your patrol models intersect, maybe at the Civil War Memorial site, and maybe there's a model we can draw on. So if you want to reach out or let me know in the chat how we can keep that conversation going, I'd appreciate it.
Okay, will do.
And Lieutenant, if you can, if you're able to drop your contact info into the chat for any community members, just so we can also get to Commissioner Fields' updates and be conscious of your time as well too. Commissioner Sycamore.
Hi, thank you so much for coming, Lieutenant. I really appreciate it. One thing that I kind of piggybacking off of Commissioner Chauvin, I've noticed that there has been quite a bit of improvement as far as the overwhelming crowds that have kind of overtaken U Street. One in particular was like over Easter, and there was one maybe about a month and a half, maybe a month ago. So I'm wondering if you deployed any sort of specific tactics, or how have you all gone about trying to reduce these types of incidences happening? They go all over social media and they are brandishing guns and things of that nature. So I'm just wondering what approaches you are taking, or what kind of feedback from the community you're taking with you to bring into your work.
U Street is definitely an issue, but we definitely trying to stay on top of it. As I stated, the nightlife crew that works that hard is, I think they come in like Thursday night until Sunday. So that's their special beat, nightlife from U Street from 9th to 14th Street. I know last Friday I was working, 5 guns was taken off the street. So they're definitely actively working. Metro has also assisted. So we're partnering with other entities to try to make sure that we're manning the safety there. U Street definitely is a big priority for nightlife. So the nightlife is through the 3rd district, and that's their main source and responsibility there is the nightlife for U Street. So as I said, U Street from 9th to 14th is shut down during those hours. We are still manning the side streets, but to try to eliminate traffic back and forth on U Street and man the crowds, the nightlife is definitely on that far as maintaining. And like I said, Metro is also assisting with that. Park Police in some areas have also assisted.
And a quick follow-up to that is, have you worked with any of Councilmember Nadeau's violence interrupters?
I haven't. I'm just new to 3D. I can check with Commander Boatler to see in the previous if they have. If not, I'll put that to him also.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you for joining us, Lieutenant. I think there is probably, I'm sure that you all do work with the violence interrupters, but I'm sure there is a separation between the two because it is different work. And it can get, I don't know. There is a separation, and I think we all are aware of that. Commissioner Jones, and then we're going to end it at Commissioner questions right there because Commissioner Fields needs to give her updates.
Thank you. I'll keep it concise. If someone wants to put the 2-minute timer on me, they're quite welcome to. Just following up on something that Commissioner Sycamore raised, I'm really grateful that MPD had a strong preventative presence on, I believe, the evening of the first Sunday or second Sunday in June. Let's see what that was. That was the evening where videos of hundreds of young people visiting U Street went around social media, some other places. I'm extremely grateful to, especially to the preventative posture that MPD took and the results that it had, which is that MPD did not make any arrests out of that crowd that evening. That's the ideal situation. The preventative posture there makes sure that large numbers of people can gather at U Street, as is their right, and do so safely. So Commissioner Sycamore is making some faces that makes me wonder which part he disagrees with, but we'll get into that later. The young people in that were gathering before the curfew, and there were no arrests out of that. And that is exactly what I want to see on U Street. I want to see a lively U Street where no one is in danger of harming themselves or others. So thank you so much to MPD for facilitating that.
Thank you. And thank you for highlighting that, Commissioner Jones. I know some of my neighbors were concerned that it was more of a restrictive, I guess, posturing. I live on U Street, so I was aware of the crowds and I was looking out. But I am relieved to hear that there were no arrests made. So thank you for calling attention to that. Okay. Thank you so much, Lieutenant, for joining us, and I'm looking forward to having you at our future meetings or someone else from 3D. And again, thank you for joining us during a very busy time for you all. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Commissioner Fields, thank you for your patience. Sorry. Commissioner Jones, can you take your hand down, please?
Yeah, just a couple of few updates. Just want to say first, there was a survey from the third Citizens Advisory Council on mopeds. If you guys have any strong opinions on mopeds or ATVs that are going through the streets, whether it's a driver or pedestrian or biker, please be sure to share that with your representative so that they can send that to me and we can share with 3DCAC as the survey has closed. But if you're interested in making your recommendations or concerns public, then that would be great to have on file. I also would like to put something quickly in the chat just about the upcoming community walk with MPD, which will be hosted on July 18th. It's not allowing me to paste it, but I will text Cedric now. It's going to be hosted by Walker Baptist Church at 2020 13th Street. And so this is a great time for, again, the community to connect with officers and speak with them about some of their concerns, or also building bonds for the community. We didn't have very many updates outside of planning a couple of events for the next month with Rita Bright, and also hoping to host an upcoming block party. So if you guys are interested in helping to plan that, please feel free to reach out via email. And our next meeting will be on August 14th. Commissioner Chauvin.
Yes, I attended the safety committee meeting for the first time, and I just had some general questions with respect to what we do there. And it's central to my neighborhood, what we do there. I'd like to be able to send my folks there and be able to participate. And I feel like there wasn't much opportunity for that. And I just like to know that going forward, I can send my constituents there and they will be called upon and be able to participate. There was a report for one of the one of the PSAs, police servicing areas. It wasn't 305, and frankly, I don't care to hear the general facts coming from the chief of police on crime in my neighborhood. I would like to know about crime in 305. It's been for the last 3.5 years. It's been for 3.5 years the most violent and property crime. And I would like to have regular reports and know where I can get those. And I don't believe I should have to get those. I have my 2 minutes, Chair.
I'm just, one second. You've asked many questions there, so I would I'm sure Commissioner Fields would appreciate it if there was one question and then she can answer, and then you can ask another one. I will note though that Commissioner Fields has shared 305, and we have asked for even broader than 305. but I'm sure she'd be happy to direct you because she has shared that in the past. I will leave it there, but I think it's wise to let Commissioner Fields to answer your first question, and we can go back to your 2 minutes. Commissioner Trindade-Duramo, can you please put up the timer?
Yes, unfortunately, I may have to hop off shortly. I'm not sure what you're meaning in regards to your constituents not receiving information, as in the website lists the time and date of our meeting. I send out emails frequently, and so if they're not on the email list, please feel free to have them email me or contact me, and we can have them included. But we have provided information to the best of our ability to your constituents and others. The statistics presented on the last call with 3D as a whole, and so I'll be following up with the actual PDF document of that, hopefully within the next day after I get another report from Karen on what the Attorney General's office is doing with a couple of cases that someone specifically requested. So she's going to send out the 3D quote report specifically for our area in relation to the Attorney General. And so those are the first 2 questions that I can remember. But yeah, I wasn't really sure if you were doing interrogations at the commission meeting calls. But happy to answer anything else.
Yeah, so Chair Harris, if you would please just extend me my time. I am very interested, along with my neighbors, deeply in crime and crime prevention. All right. Several folks on this call do not live in the corridor where this is overly important, if not the most important issue. So there needs to be a little, understanding of the tenor coming from my neighborhood. And so I just want to know, and I'd like to know how this commission can produce once a month the stats. And I can't go do it. My hands are pretty full. I'm unpaid, just like you. But there's some way we can get a report every month. I'm just putting it out there. I would like one for 305 because I don't want to hear one more report from the chief saying crime is down. I want to see 305, and I'd like to see it monthly. And I don't think that's much to ask. I just like your support on that, however we can get it. Thank you.
I'm sure we can direct you to the crime cards, which is a publicly accessible area. Commissioner Fields, again, has shared it. If she has it on hand, great. If not, any of us can Google it and resurface that for you. As you've mentioned, and we all are on this call, 1B is a very busy district. Now, I would also say, and I don't want to step on your toes, Commissioner Fields, but what is preventing your neighbors specifically from joining public safety and community engagement? We've had this committee for years. You have also been actively involved with the commission for years. That I'm struggling to understand what the issue is in joining the committee or attending the committee meetings.
Sure, you're asking me?
Yes, because you brought up the issue.
Yeah. So it's a generic problem with our communication. I haven't had the opportunity to convene with Commissioner Trindade-Duramo. However, it is imperatively important to my constituents that they know what is going on at a committee meeting beforehand. They don't just look around, the website all the time, hoping that, they'll go to that meeting, maybe something interesting will happen. They have a right to know. And there'll be later in this meeting when one of my constituents is so unhappy, my entire street is so unhappy because they didn't know about a major product. So again, not a issue with respect just to Commissioner Fields and public safety, all committees. And so therefore, I haven't convened with Commissioner Trindade-Duramo, but I would like this commission's support and help to refocus energy and communications so that people have at least a day or two, if not a week, agenda for committees so they can feel part of the process and know that they should spend and can spend their time there. So that's really it. It's everybody here. Thank you.
I think that makes sense. We can do, I'm sure, a better job publishing the committee agendas. Committee chairs, if you hear that, please, within, at least, 5 days, share that agenda, because I know that it takes a lot of work in advance to put it together. So if you can share it out. But Commissioner Chauvin, this is your district. Like if a committee chair shares it out, it's up to you to share it out. We can't go knocking on your SMD's doors It is up to you. You are representative of the neighborhood. So if we can get you that agenda, then we hope that you can then share it with your constituents.
With all due respect, Chair, we are in a technological age, and if someone's registered for a meeting in the past, they should get an agenda. We have a lot to do as free serving
Yes,
public
we
servant.
will get that out. We will get it out and we will do our best, but you are also you are representative of your neighborhood, and that if you have constituents who are reaching out to you and not knowing, and you have the information in your inbox, you need to be sharing that.
Well, that's pretty rudimentary. Of course I know that. I don't need to be lectured
Great, then
on.
we're on the same page.
But I am asking for the step up in technology. If someone's registered for a meeting previously, then the agenda should just go to them because they have an interest. I'm just asking that. I think that's a pretty simple technological advance that would benefit your constituents as well as mine. So thank you.
We will do our best. We're on the same page, but as I've stated, you can share it out, and I would give the same advice to all the other commissioners here to do the same with their constituents who have questions, or to also go directly to the committee chair and ask, rather than waiting until the next commission meeting to ask what is coming up on the agenda. Commissioner Fields, thank you for your time. Do you have any other updates? Sorry, Commissioner Jones, I'm going to wait to get to you because I'm conscious of Commissioner Fields' time. Sorry, do you have anything else? I don't know if you were shaking your head or trying to unmute yourself. Commissioner Fields. Okay, I'm going to assume no. Commissioner Jones, go ahead with your question.
Thanks. So Commissioner Chauvin, you got a good point about, everyone, our neighborhoods are large and different patrol zones have different information, and it's different for each of us. Two thoughts on that. One is I found the police extremely responsive when I've emailed them. You can email Commander Bottler. I've been able to get information extremely quickly from the commander and his staff. As Chair Harris says, also, there's crime cards as well that she's put in the chat a couple of times. And finally, there's the 3rd District Citizens Advisory Commission, 3DCAC, which is an advisory body to the 3rd District Command that meets at the end of each month, usually the last Thursday of each month. You can get crime stats there. You can talk directly with MPD there if you're concerned with a specific thing. I know I've gone a couple of times, probably 4 or 5 times over the course of this term, and I've found it quite helpful. And Commissioner Chauvin, I've seen you there. So I think I've seen you. I know you care about this issue, and I've seen you at the 3DCAC meetings. And I would also encourage you to recommend that to your neighbors as well. I've done that because often the neighbors want to speak directly to the police and other parts of our public safety bureaucracy, and that is often a more effective way if you want to speak directly to the bureaucracy and to MPD is to go to 3DCAC. So again, I know you know that, but maybe just reminding you that that option is available to you, and I hope that you use it.
Commissioner Trindade Durham.
Well, unfortunately, Commissioner Fields had to drop. So I don't know. I'll just ask if anyone is able to answer what exactly the initiative about the mopeds and ATVs is, and if nobody knows, then we'll just bring it up again next month, I suppose. Actually being asked, she just said there is a survey, but I'm not sure.
I thought I saw the survey actually in my email, so give me a second. Here we go. Hold on. I think it's a survey. Never mind. It was from 3DCAC. I just clicked on the link, which we probably can reach out to Ms. Karen Gall to see if she can reopen the survey. But it's from what Commissioner Jones was talking about. It's from the 3DCAC. It's about, I guess, folks' general thoughts around the mopeds. slash ATVs. Sorry, what I will do is I'll post the link into the chat, but it says the survey is closed, so. So we will reach out to both Commissioner Fields and Ms. Karen Gall to see if maybe it can be reopened. And again, folks, it's the survey is closed. So we're sharing out a closed survey link, but this is what Commissioner Fields was referring to. Okay. Moving on. Transportation. Commissioner Trindade Duramo.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As Commissioner Lakatos is out of the country, at the moment, he asked me to handle the introduction of a few resolutions on behalf of the Transportation Committee. I will do my best to share my screen. Just a moment. I think we have success.
Yep, we can see your screen.
Wonderful, thank you. Just a moment. So both resolutions that I'm introducing on the Transportation Committee's behalf tonight have to do with DPW. At their budget hearing, they stated that they would be procuring smart composting bins and solar trash compactors for public use. And the priority locations for the smart composting bins are intended to be areas with high density multifamily housing, but a lack of existing drop-offs, which are usually or exclusively farmers markets at present. And the public trash compactors also are supposed to be placed in high density, high pedestrian traffic, and high litter locations. And so the Transportation Committee developed two resolutions, one for each program in order to specify where in our commission area 1B, it might be most appropriate to place the smart composting bins and trash compactors. So what you see before you is the smart composting bin resolution. It was emailed out in advance. It's in the agenda packet on page 24. Most importantly, of course, is the list of locations for smart composting bins that we're requesting of DPW. And those are the intersection of 9th Street and W, the intersection of 14th and W, 14th and Euclid, New Hampshire and V, and on the 1900 block of 8th Street. So with that, I move that the commission adopt the resolution as approved by the Transportation Committee and as appears on pages 24 and 25 of the agenda packet. 25 is just a map showing the existing compost drop-off locations and the borders of ANC 1B there in black, showing that we do not have any existing compost drop-off locations, and it's a little bit of a hike to the existing ones. So hopefully the system will encourage composting, especially for those of us who live in multifamily buildings that don't provide this kind of infrastructure. So moved.
Second.
I'm sorry, can you take this off the screen, please? Discussion. Commissioner Kinsick.
Yeah, the 14th Street of W, what side and what location is it going to be in 1B05 or 1B04?
A good question. I don't, it's not the only one that's on a border. So I don't know that it's going to matter whether we suggest that it be on the north side or south side or east side or west side. I mean, it's the, it's the corner. And I don't think DPW is thinking about this from an ANC boundary perspective, of course, right? So.
Understood. It just with the restaurants that are right there on W, also Tate, which sits outside, it tends to attract rats and other things, of course. So we just want to keep that in mind. Where like across the street, you have a CVS, you have an empty place right now. There's no, no person that's selling any goods or anything like that. So it's empty. So it'd just be something we could look at possibly putting on the west side of the street. I just think it would flow better with traffic. Thank you.
I agree. Just to respond briefly, if I may, these locations are not meant to be hyper precise, as I mentioned before, but more to flag for DPW the places that have that meet the criteria, high density, and no existing composting infrastructure. Of course, they're also going to take things into consideration, such as the width of the sidewalk. Right, one side might be narrower than the other. That is the case on 14th Street. So they'll do a survey of their own and determine precisely where is the most appropriate place.
Commissioner Sycamore.
Yeah, very similar question to Commissioner Kenzik. As far as the W and 9th location, that's actually directly behind me through this little intersection on W Street. And it doesn't seem like to be a high volume area. So I'm wondering if that maybe that DPW wanted to put it into a less high traffic area, or if they want to put it out more in the open. Because if they did, then it might be a little bit more behoove them, and maybe possibly suggest that we put it over here on Florida and W as opposed to 9th and W.
I would have to defer to a member of the Transportation Committee. I'm not sure if anyone happens to be on the meeting right now to speak to why. I mean, those are only a couple 100 feet apart, right, at that point. So I wonder, why they chose to phrase it as 9th instead of as Florida.
Yeah.
Could not answer.
Yeah, because it's just a little hidden behind the two buildings, and it's quite a narrow road. So I was just wondering if there's any reasoning behind that. Okay.
Commissioner Jones.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's extremely important for us to have this service in our area. Currently, with the composting pilot plan, people who live in multifamily units, which is for many of us, the majority of our constituents, are not eligible for the composting plan. This is a great way for DC to start rolling out composting at a larger scale. And I'm glad that I'm grateful for the work that went into this. So with understanding that a lot of these will need to be tweaked, including in the ways that Commissioners Sycamore and Kinzig just mentioned, I'm hopeful that we can all vote in favor of this. And then as locations come in and get more precise, we can work with the DC government to pinpoint them to what side of the street, which block, exactly where they need to be. Thank you.
I see 2 community comments. Is this, just want to double check, is this related to, okay, I've seen 1 community comment, but is this related to what our motion is and what we are potentially voting on, the smart composting bin resolution? I just want to confirm with the community member who has their hand up.
Hi.
Hi.
I hope everyone can hear me. Just coming on to speak as a member of the Transportation Committee and kind of confirm those things that I believe some of the commissioners, especially Commissioner Jones, just echoed, which is yes, these are notional locations for the composting bins, and this is also going to be true of the additional recycling bins. Not set in stone, just strong suggestions based on where the multifamily units are clustered in the ANC, and obviously things like sidewalk width, utilities, proximity, curb cuts, etc., would need to be taken into account. Really just more kind of encouraging DPW on the way.
Great, thank you. Thank you for providing more context on that. Okay, any more discussion or questions? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Commissioner Chauvin, are you in favor or opposed?
Raised it for in favor.
Okay. Abstentions. Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. Thank you. Whatever's next, Commissioner Trindade Drama.
Madam Chair, I have a motion. There is
Also, I just want to say I'm not censuring or censoring anyone's comments. I just wanted to verify, because it was a long motion and a long discussion, that this was something that a community member wanted to focus on. But thank you for the reminder, Commissioner Sycamore.
If I may proceed, the second resolution, which I alluded to earlier, is coming up on your screens now. Also can be found on page 26 of the final agenda packet. This has to do with the trash compactors, also a DPW program. And much like the resolution we just approved, this one out of Transportation Committee suggests locations for public trash compactors. These are solar powered. The resolution, which I can't see because Zoom is making me crazy, requested at least 10 public solar powered trash compactors in ANC 1B. And the suggested sites are a little bit more vague in this resolution, but the committee has suggested high density areas on U Street between 9th and 15th, on Florida between 6th and 9th, on 14th between S and Belmont, the 1900 block of 9th Street, and the 1900 block of 8th Street. And I also wanted to point out this second be it resolved resolution clause, which requests that if DPW replaces existing public litter cans with solar powered trash compactors, that the existing public litter cans be moved to another location in ANC 1B where residents have requested public litter cans. As I am currently trying to attract someone's attention to give public litter cans in my SMD fruitlessly so far. I quite like this provision. Very happy that the committee thought of it, trying to keep our litter cans in our SMDs or in our ANC at least, and increase the total number of litter cans, solar powered and otherwise, and not lose any, since they are a valuable resource that we don't get installed nearly as readily as we should. So with that, I move that the full commission adopt the resolution.
No. Let me call for a motion first, but I want to see if community members have any comment on this. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Commissioner Trindade Drama.
Just moving the resolution.
Keep going.
That the full commission approve the 2024 public trash compactor resolution as drafted and approved by the Transportation Committee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That concludes the committee's report. There is an additional motion that was sent to additional resolution, that was sent around by email. I don't know if you would like to handle it now or under new business.
Let's do it a new business.
All right, so that's it. If anyone's interested in joining the Transportation Committee as a community member, please contact Commissioner Lakatos. His email address is in the agenda, and the next meeting will be Wednesday, August 14th, as there is no July meeting of the Transportation Committee.
Thank you.
I have a quick point of order, Chair.
No, your point of order is out of order.
Is that out of order? Can I be recognized?
You can be recognized. What is it?
Just to iterate for folks whose time is valuable on this call, the issue we will discuss in new business has to do with the performance parking plan. So if they'd like to stay on till the very, very end during open comments, I just urge them to do so. I believe that's the issue. Am I correct?
I see Commissioner Trindade Geramo shaking his head, so no. But Commissioner Trindade Geramo, do you want to expand on what you may or may not be bringing up in new business?
The resolution for new business has to do with the 1900 block of 7th Street. And there's a redesign going on, and it's a request to close a curb cut.
Then I asked the chair for recognition for 30 seconds.
No. If this has to do with the performance parking, you can bring it up in new business, Frank.
Quite important, but thank you.
I wasn't questioning the importance, but I was saying if it's a new business matter, since it's not on the agenda, you should bring it up in new business. Commissioner Trindade Geramo.
Sorry, I just saw a question in the Q&A from a community member that's transportation relevant. The member asked regarding trash in general, my understanding is that there was some discussion on DC Council about expanding trash pickup to larger buildings. Any more information on that? And I haven't had an update on that in a couple of months, so I don't know if anybody wants to pick up on that real quick.
I thought I heard something on that, but we do have Nicole on. Nicole, I don't know if you have any information on that.
I am. There is a bill pending that would expand city services, city provided trash to larger multi-fam buildings. I'd have to check with my team on where that stands, but I might be able to get an answer during this meeting. So if I do, I'll either share it in the chat or share it when it's my turn later. But there is a bill pending. I'll get you guys some more info.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. And again, if there are other matters that weren't addressed in transportation, since it's not on the agenda, please bring it up in new business. It does not mean it's less important. It's just not on the agenda. So we're trying to get through what's on there. And then if items have come up since then, we will get to it in new business. ZPD, Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The ZPD committee discussed 3 items in our meeting in June. I'm going to be concise, and I believe some of the parties are on the line right now, but I think we will be able to get through discussion without requiring them to do a full presentation. If any of the commission members request that, we can ask to promote them. So item number 1 that we spoke about last week was the Baldwin House Cooperative Association, which is located at 2570 Sherman Street Northwest. They have an open BZA case 21152 seeking special exception relief to effectively add a community service center to the existing building. This is not going to involve any change outside the building, to my awareness. It is changing the way that certain parts of the building can be used. During discussion, community comments were generally positive. No one raised any concerns about the proposed special exception. I can get into it into more detail if any commissioners desire, but until then, to open the discussion, I move that ANC 1B support the special exception requested by the applicants pertaining to BZA case 21152.
We have a second.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, I'm going to raise something. This is generally, commissioners, before you raise a motion, please let me ask for the motion. And then we will proceed until that, because I want to make sure community members have time to speak, because it could get confusing with our motions and things. So that's why, please, before you raise it, let's do that. Go ahead, Commissioner Sycamore.
Thank you. So yeah, this is in my SMD. The resident asking for this special exemption has been absolutely fantastic. They've been outreaching to the community. They've been working with the government. They've been working with me. They've been working with Commissioner Jones. I see absolutely nothing to oppose in this, and I'm 100% in support of this. And I hope the community and the commission support this wholeheartedly, because I think they have a great mission, and I cannot wait to see what they do with this wonderful large piece of property.
Thank you. I echo your positive comments, Commissioner Sycamore, and I'm happy to hear them from you. I think, I have been a supporter of Baldwin House. I think when they were first starting, I think it was to exercise TOPA. And so I was excited to see them come up for this because I know that they do really good work in the community. One, from exercising TOPA, but two, to add this to their space. I think it's really important. So I am also in support of this. Are there any other comments, questions? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Commissioner Chauvin, is that opposed or was that in favor? Okay, thank you. Abstentions? Motion passes 7 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The second item that we discussed was an application at 1834 13th Street Northwest. This is an HPRB case, HPRB case 24-334. The request is that the applicant is seeking conceptual review with the HPRB for a third floor addition over the existing building footprint. The third floor addition is held back from the front facade to limit the sight lines from the street. And at the time, applicant was working on setting up a flag test. There was some, the committee voted 2 in favor, 1 against, 0 abstaining, and chair not voting to support the application. If there's any questions or comments, I'm happy to address them, or if the applicant is here, allow them to discuss as well.
Great. Are there any comments from or questions from the community? Okay, do you want to go ahead and make your motion?
Sure. Madam Chair, I move that ANC 1B support the applicant's HPRB application 24-334. Sorry, there's a specific way that the committee wanted this phrase. Let me start again. I move that ANC 1B support the applicant's HPRB application for a third-story addition at 1834 13th Street Northwest with the Historic Preservation Office's supervision of detailing of windows, front facades, and a flag test.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Sycamore.
Sorry. MPD at work. Thank you so much again for this. Just 2 quick questions. One was what was the one vote that was against? What was that for? And what are the surrounding buildings like?
Thanks. So the vote against, and I'll see if that member is here so they can speak for themselves. I do not believe they are. The concern that led one person to vote against is that on the side toward the street, there will be a balcony that will effectively be a roof, like that the committee member viewed as effectively being a roof deck, and that committee member did not think that it was appropriate to have a roof deck on the front of a building in that area. The consensus of the committee, not the consensus, the majority of the committee did not agree with that. The drawings that the applicant provided indicate that no structure of this balcony or arguable roof deck would be visible from the street. And the purpose of the flag test mentioned, that is part of the condition of the motion as I phrased it, is also to verify that the balcony or roof deck would not be visible from the front street. The second part of your question was, what does the surrounding area look like? Give me one moment to open up a particular file.
I mean, I can say that it's in my SMD. It's on 13th Street. It's a row home. It's across from I guess like mid-sized apartment building. But it's a row home. I mean, it's on busy 13th Street. I trust the committee's recommendation on this. And so I will be supporting this with the addition I appreciate and the motion of seeking the comment from HPO staff, which is pretty typical for anything that comes before HPRB.
And I've just
Commissioner
provided,
Jones, do you have? Oh, I'm sorry.
sorry, I've
Do you-
got some pictures here if this helps give some context. Currently, the house is not inhabitable. But
Okay.
it's,
Do you have a design of what they want to do? The blueprint?
yes, one moment. Let me find a more useful page. Yeah, this is an overview and architectural sketch of the design. As you can see, this part here is the part facing the street. The part in the back is so this is the layer they're looking to add. This is the third floor they're looking to add. This area already exists. So the prevailing view of the committee was that because none of this is anticipated to be seen from sidewalk level from the public street, including across the street, that this would not have negative impact on the historic nature of the area.
Okay. Thank you. That's great. I appreciate you taking the time. Thank you.
Commissioner Kinsick.
Yeah, I actually joined that call, and I had little, skepticism as terms of one of the concerns, the one person that is concerned. But after hearing what their plans are, and the parapet's going to stay level to the existing buildings, so I don't think it's going to be an eyesore. And with the flag test, I can't see why anyone would be opposed to this. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, the person with their hand up in the audience is a member of the applicant's team. So if we could give them the floor for a minute, that would be helpful.
Commissioner Trindade Drama, can you set the timer, please?
Or 2 minutes then.
She probably needs to be enabled.
Yeah, just go ahead and set the timer. And if you can keep it short, if possible.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Perfect. I just wanted to let you know that the flag test was completed, and Amania Price was able to walk by it. As Tucker Jones said, the house is not habitable, but she was able to walk by it last Wednesday, and she saw no issues with this, and even said that she thought this might be a candidate for the consent calendar, but she still needs to check with the rest of the office. It's still there if you'd like to walk by as well.
Great, thank you. Great, okay. Are there any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Abstentions?
Sorry, I am in favor.
Thank you. Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. The next item that ANC 1B's ZPD committee considered, give me one moment to get my windows back in order. The next case that we considered was by the Christian Tabernacle Church. This is a property at 2033 11th Street Northwest. And they have a Historic Preservation Review Board case, HPRB case, number 24-223. First off, let me be clear, this is not the church itself. The church itself the applicant is not seeking to make any changes to the church itself. The applicant also owns a property directly behind the church that is currently an asphalt parking lot with a small one-story daycare center in it. The applicant is looking for historic review for their proposed design for a mixed-use project containing new affordable housing units and a new child development center, or child care center, to replace the existing child development center building on the site. There was discussion about this. Again, we were reviewing only for historical character because that is what's being sought now. The designs presented, frankly, this was extremely positive feedback from the ZPD committee. We have a lot of people who pay attention to detail, and the members of our committee were generally very positive about the efforts that the applicant took to make sure that they matched the character of the neighborhood. The applicants also will eventually need a couple of special exceptions relating to a BZA case, but we did not discuss that at this meeting because they have not finalized those details yet. Again, I'm happy to I'm happy to have someone from the applicant team. I think there's some, I'm not sure the person raising their hand is a member of that team or not. And I'm happy to show some of the material that was provided to the Zoning Preservation and Development Committee. That being said, the recommendation from the ZPD committee was that the full ANC support the HPRB application for concept and massing by Christian Tabernacle Church at 10th Street and V Street Northwest,
Okay.
as was presented.
Okay, I do see members, I see Pastor Hart, and then I do see Simone Goring Devaney as well. I don't know if they would like to speak. I do see another hand up. So let's go to Commissioner Chauvin if you have any questions or comments. We'll go to you first, and then we'll go to the community.
Yeah, just a quick recap, Commissioner Jones, is they're required, they will be coming back to ZPD for the zoning I think there's 4 zoning variances. Am I correct on that? Right, yeah.
Yes, the applicant previewed that they expect to need 4 zoning variances. They're looking into, I believe, 1 to 2 of them to see if they are actually needed or not. It's a complicated matter. But yes, this vote would not have the ANC take a position on any BZA case. This vote, as moved, the motion that I intend to make would only talk about whether this is historically compatible or not, and not speak anything about special exceptions one way or the other, simply because the ZPD committee has not had a chance to look at that request yet because the request is not finalized. So
Right. I understand.
I'm sorry, hold on. I need to clarify. We only support the historic, the recommendation. We do not actually make a determination if it's compatible or not. So I just want to clarify, we do not, as an ANC, determine if it's historically compatible. And typically, and Commissioner Chauvin, I think, you know, you have been a member on ZPD. Typically, the order of ZPD is projects that come before us, it's HPRB, and then it's depending on if they are in a historic zone, then it is BZA or the zoning commission, depending on what it is. More than likely, it's BZA. So that's why we're not reviewing that tonight.
Yeah, I was, you know, at the meeting. I understand this is just historic and it's for the compatibility. I understand that. I was at that meeting. However, I just wanted to, does it matter if it's either BZA or zoning commission? They will both, regardless, it will come before ZPD. All right, that's what I want to affirm. Thank you. And so, yes, I'll just speak in support. It is a beautiful building, and we're happy to have a beautiful building. It looks like almost 2 structures, and they could have just lopped it up like a lot of other stuff in town that we see lopped up. And it's a heartwarming building, and we need more of that. So, you know, I voted in favor. I think the vote was unanimous in support. So, thank you.
Are there any other commissioner question? Commissioner Kinsick.
Yeah, also was on the call, and you know, they're talking about adding about 16 parking spaces underground, 65 apartments, affordable housing. They're still going to house the 8,200 development area for the children. It seems like a win-win, and I'm always about affordable housing, whatever anyone wants to say about 16, 17. Again, it meets the neighborhood standards, looks like it doesn't sit out like a sore thumb. It will be a great addition. I will be in support of this. Thank you.
Commissioner Sycamore.
One question and one comment. I can't remember, what is the height of this? Do you remember?
So one remark first, and then I will, while I'm looking for that, the only remark is that sorry, I'm looking for this now. Okay. The height is not a question that we considered because we were considering only to weigh in on historic compatibility. So I would recommend that the ANC not consider factors that are not related to historic preservation on this particular vote.
It is. I will correct you, actually, Commissioner Jones. It's a mix. Sometimes it's not exactly related, but it has to do with the massing. So I will say, if you have that in the plans, I think that is helpful, but it's not always, it kind of, they go back and forth. It's not always considered, Commissioner Sycamore, but it varies. They always have different answers to this. Like the height is actually determined if they're seeking relief on a height, then that goes in front of BCA. Or if it's like a massing thing where height does play into that, then that does kind of affect HPRB, but it's kind of a mixed bag.
And then to answer Commissioner Sycamore's question, the diagram that we see here, the penthouse roof will be 76.5 feet high. And above that, it looks like we're looking at machinery up to 8 feet high on top of that. So that would be a total of 84.5 feet. That's compatible with the current zoning. The applicant is not seeking any zoning relief for height.
Okay. That's like an MU, what, 10?
I believe it's in let's see. So MU10 allows higher. I don't believe they're using the entire. They're in the RS2. One moment. Let me look here. Allowed max height of the penthouse. One moment if I can, excuse me. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second because it's messing with how I'm able to view this document. I apologize. Yeah, the current zoning is Arts 2, and I don't have and they're not seeking. Yeah, the current zoning is Arts 2. I do not currently know what the maximum height on that is. I believe it is lower than the maximum height allowed in MU10, but I would need a few minutes to gather that information.
Again, that's specific though zoning, that's for the zoning matter, but I was saying that height sometimes does come into play with HPRB with massing. So maybe if you can wait on that question a little bit when they get to the zoning component.
Yep. And then just one quick comment. So I've met Reverend Hart, and I can actually see the church from currently where I'm sitting. They have done nothing but be wonderful members of this community. I see no reason why they want to harm the community in any way or try to take advantage of the community in any way. So, and I've never heard, even though it's not my SMD, I've not heard anything from anyone about negative about this project. So I'm very much looking forward to supporting this project. And I hope Reverend Hart, who has a long and deep history in this neighborhood, can speak more eloquently to the wonderfulness that is his church and his community and what they plan to do. Thank you.
Commissioner Chauvin, do you have another question, or is this from a prior hand up?
No, I have a comment, and it has to do with the project. while supportive of the aesthetics. Beautiful building. We all need a little more lifting of our spirits, and it's why we live in the city. It's a beauty. However, I am a little disappointed, and the opportunity is not here, that there's no workforce housing available for this project. U Street needs workforce housing. Not enough from this commission is being said. Not enough is being said down the corridor or from the leaders. And so I will continue to bring this up. The best opportunity for some workforce housing will be at publicly owned sites such as 1617 U Street and at HFA and Reeves. So I'd like you all to keep that in mind. We can't get enough people to staff our business at Mid-City. We need workforce housing. We need teachers and we need policemen. So thank you for the related but slight tangent on that issue.
Sure, I'm sure you'll bring it up again with zoning, because it'll be more relevant to that versus what we're discussing right now with HPRB. We do have one community comment that's had their hand raised for a while, so I'm gonna recognize that, Commissioner Jones, and then we can bring it back to you. So Cedric, can you go ahead and take them off of mute?
Hi, good evening. This is Daniel. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Hi, yeah. So kind of in a similar vein, one of my concerns, I live again across the street from the building, so very close in the 2100 block of 11th Street, is sort of the trend of being able to, is this going to be like a mixed income housing, sort of a mix of affordable workforce and market rate? And has the community or committee looked at the benefits of like having mixed income housing versus sort of a high density, low income housing and the effects that can have on the local community? And then kind of as a follow-up question to that, how do we as community members sort of stay in touch with this project? What are the best resources that we can use to stay informed about when decisions are being made and how we can give our inputs to those decisions?
Sure. So I can speak to that briefly. And if anybody from the applicant's team would like to speak to that as well, please put your hand up and we can do that. But in long story short, this, as presented, this the applicant intends this to be, let me make sure I get the number, I believe 65. Homes. Let me see.
Yes,
Yeah, 65 apartments.
Deeply
And all of them would be affordable housing, which include, I'm not sure at what precise levels it would be affordable housing, but it would be affordable housing. As mentioned, the ANC was reviewing this in terms of the ANC 1B Zoning Preservation Development Committee was considering only the historic nature of this. There's a lot of discussion about the we've had a lot of discussion at various places where neighbors have encouraged us to seek more affordable housing and in some cases to seek less. But in this case, it was not relevant to what we were reviewing. The applicant has the right to house people of the income mix that they desire, as long as it's affordable with the inclusionary zoning standards that they're going for. And my understanding is that that is the case. 100% affordable is above and beyond the minimums of inclusionary zoning. So anyway, and then the final question was—
All right, and one thing with that, and I think you are definitely you're well suited to answer the final question on engagement, but I just wanted to note that the committee did not review that yet. So they will be reviewing the zoning kind of matters after HPRB or when they come back, seeking ANC support for whatever relief or variances that they are requesting. Now, we did have a question in there or a comment by what I'm assuming, I'm not sure who this person is, but they say that the property will have apartments set aside for households with incomes ranging from 30% to 80% AMI. So yeah, Commissioner Jones, you seemed a little skeptical with my response. I just wanted to maintain that they will be coming back to the ANC, that this is just for HPRB right now, which is for the concept and massing, which doesn't have anything to do with right now the affordable housing component.
Yeah, so to be clear, I do not anticipate that the ZPD committee or that the ANC will have any input on the levels of affordability at this site at all. The reason why I anticipate that is that, as proposed, the levels of affordability are by right. That means that it complies with existing standards. When an applicant proposes something that is by right, we do not, they are already complying with the rules. They're not seeking an exception. So we will not be weighing in on that. That is my anticipation.
Are they seeking some
Special
sort of,
exceptions.
are they seeking some sort of relief or variance though in terms of height or density?
The special exceptions that they are seeking are, one moment. Let me make sure I pull this up and get it exactly right. They previewed 4 possible zoning special exceptions. The first one is the removal of loading space and service space due to feasibility of site constraints and the fact that there is no alley access through the back. The second one that they anticipate is that at one point, the ramp in the underground garage will need to have a higher slope than what the zoning allows. It needs to be above 12% grade. It will be at a 20% grade. So they're seeking an exception on that. The rear yard, they need to be clear about whether they can provide, there's some ambiguity regarding the rear yard on one of the church lots. Basically, they're taking an existing lot and dividing it into 2. And the question is, how much of a yard do they need to provide? We're not sure. They might need an exception on that. And the final exception that they may go for is a rear yard back to residential lot B, which is one of the residential lots. Again, this is to see if details about a closed back courtyard where kids are going to play at the Child Development Center, how that interacts with it and how some side yards interact as well. So to sum that up, the 4 special exceptions that this applicant anticipates seeking have nothing to do with inclusionary zoning and have nothing to do with the density of the site and have nothing to do with the occupants of the site. That's why I do not anticipate that ANC 1B will weigh in again on who gets to live there, only the structure itself.
Okay, I think that makes sense. I think, well, ANC 1B will certainly still be able to comment either in support or in favor of the special exceptions or relief, and also voicing our support of, you know, the affordability of it. It doesn't mean that we might, I think there's still time for community comment. I mean, I also have talked with Pastor Hart, and I would assume that he is very open to community comment and community engagement based on my interactions with him and even what Commissioner Sycamore is saying. So what I don't want to do is say that there's not going to be another chance for more community engagement by saying that, you know, they're not coming back. They still will be coming back, and I'm sure we'll still be engaging with the community. And it looks like they are developing this based on that person's comment for ranges of affordability. And sorry, do you want to answer the question on engagement, how people can follow along? Sorry.
If a member of the development team at this site would raise their hand, maybe we can put them and they can provide contact information.
Great.
Simone.
Cedric, can you go ahead and take Simone off of mute, please? Hi, Simone. It's nice to see you again.
Good evening. It's good to see you also, Madam Chairperson, and good evening, commissioners. Yes, so as Commissioner Harris has said, Pastor Hart, and I'm not sure if Pastor Hart's able to be on the call this evening, is very engaged in the community. I can give you my contact information, and anybody can reach out to me at any time or reach out to Pastor Hart directly. Pastor Hart has selected a joint venture developer partner, which is Beacon Communities, which is an affordable housing developer. They will also be available to provide any information about the project. As has been discussed, we will be coming back to the ANC for the BZA request, and we will also be coming back in the future. We're going to be seeking DHCD affordable housing subsidy funding, so we'll be coming back also. So there will be multiple times where we will present at the ANC, and we're also always willing to present at any community meetings where the community would like to hear more about the project and where the status of the project, and so we can answer any questions.
Thank you so much for that, Simone. And if you can, again, go ahead and post any contact info that you're able to share into the chat, we can make sure that the community members get that. And, you know, I'm sure that community members, this is in Commissioner Chauvin's SMD, is that correct, Commissioner Jones? Oh, wait, do I have that wrong? Hold on.
Yes, it's Commissioner.
Okay, yeah. And community members can keep in touch with Commissioner Chauvin on this as well too, since it's in his SMD. There was another community question in the Q&A. It is, can we also plan to discuss with the community the potential impact of crime with singular low-income housing makeup versus a mixed unit types? This is a major concern for our building, especially in terms of community integration. I'm sure many of us would be happy to share studies that show that just because it is low-income housing doesn't mean that it's going to increase crime. Or there's other studies or other information commissioners can share, but I think there have been many studies that show that just because someone has a lower income does not mean there's going to be an increase in crime. Okay, Commissioner Jones, do you want to go ahead and make the motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the ANC 1B support the HPRB application for concept and massing by Christian Tabernacle Church at 10th and B Street Northwest as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion.
Just one person in the chat, Madam Chair.
Okay. Go ahead and okay, wait, we have two. Pastor Hart did share his information. Pastor Hart, I hope your daughter is okay. Cedric, if you can go ahead and paste his contact info into the chat. Maybe not the whole message, but again, we hope that your daughter is okay. And then yep, you can still speak. I'm getting to these questions. So if you can take Mr. Rick Ziegler off of mute, please.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I live across the street from the church and the property. I love Pastor Kevin, but I do not think this building is a good idea for a lot of different reasons. First of all, it is an eyesore right now, and I do think it could be improved. On communication, I've spoken with a bunch of my neighbors, and I don't think the word has gotten out. I saw the wrong link in the agenda. This is just a point of logistics. It was for 2023, not 2033, and I think that may have turned away some folks who maybe just don't understand how the agenda works. With the current small daycare operation, there's significant traffic safety issues. I see these outside my house every day because I'm immediately across the street. The streets are not designed for the existing operation, let alone, what's being planned with additional density. The pickup and drop-offs are dangerous. It leads to fights with community members. There was one yesterday. The police had to come, and that was with two patrons from the daycare center. The current roads are misrepresented in the renditions, the drawings that have been posted by the applicant. The streets are small. They're not big like they're showing. It's not wide open pasture streets. It's very small. This is a one-way street on V. When Garrett Patterson School is fully functional, we're going to have a bigger problem on our hand. I have watched children almost be struck several times. It's a matter of time before one of these toddlers runs out of this building and gets mowed down, and it's going to be horrible. And I don't want to see it. And I work on my roof deck, so I watch this take place every day. When you have a domestic service like this, you need the management, interior and exterior. So the dumpster trash that's been blowing around, there's a dumpster in the parking lot of the daycare, the food truck operation, the grease and the rats, the deterioration of the existing historic building. These are major problems. I would like to see the property managed correctly before we allow them to have exceptions, or what I would say, and I would disagree respectfully, it is a giant sore thumb. It's not historically accurate. It's not historically matched. So those are my thoughts. Again, love Pastor Kevin. I just think this is a terrible idea. I'd rather see this stay the same height. And by the way, if height was not discussed,
your time is up, sir.
if height was not discussed, I think it should be added to the discussion.
Your time is up. Thank you. Again, the ANC does not weigh in on if this is historically compatible. We simply support or do not support the project to go in front of HPRB. And this was probably confusing, and I apologize. Commissioner Sycamore had a question on the height. Commissioner Jones mentioned that height is not a factor in HPRB. I then weighed in and probably threw a wrench into it and said that height sometimes can be mixed up with massing. It's sometimes discussed at HPRB, but often where it squarely matters is at zoning, not at HPRB. So I will just state that, but the ANC does not weigh in on if this is compatible or not. We simply support or do not support it to go in front of HPRB. And HPRB will ask, does ANC support this, or did we not hear anything? And that's it. They weigh in on compatibility. We do not. Commissioner Jones.
All right, so just some thoughts on that. I appreciate the concerns that our neighbor Rick raised. Almost none of them have to do with the historic compatibility of this and whether the ANC supports or does not support this as as appropriate for the historic zone. I am confident that if you reach out to Pastor Hart, that he will help you mitigate some of those concerns. But in the meantime, the ANC 1B should not seek to hold up a historic review based on factors that are not related to the proposal's historic appropriateness. So for that reason, I encourage ANC members to think about this proposal in terms of its historic appropriateness for this historic area and cast their votes based on that factor. Thank you.
Are there any other discussion points? Okay.
I'm sorry, just a quick comment.
Okay, can you also raise your hand? It's easier.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find it. Yeah, sorry, that's why I put it up here. I'm sorry. This to our neighbor Rick. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Like I said, I live around the corner. I've seen that as well. I fully 100% behind you with everything that you've raised. Just at this point, this juncture right now, it doesn't fit into what we're discussing. So I just want to make that perfectly clear that I hear you, I see you, and I know exactly what you're talking about. I've seen it myself, but it will be addressed at some point in the future, just not with the historic compatibility part of it at this time. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you bringing that up.
Okay, are there any other comments? All those in favor?
Yes.
All those opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, just a quick update on the next scheduling of the ZPD meeting. Usually ANC 1B's ZPD committee meets on the third Monday of each month. I will be on work travel and then I'll be on work travel at that time and will not be in a compatible time zone. For that reason, I am discussing moving the time to Wednesday, the 24th, same time as usual. I believe it's 6:30 via Zoom. I will make sure that that change is communicated via our website and via our listserv, and I'll work with Secretary Tundraju Duramo to do that. So again, we're anticipating that the ZPD committee meeting for this month will be held on Wednesday, the 24th at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. Please check the ANC 1B website for details. Thank you.
Thank you. And there's one question, and and thank you, Nicole, who's the member of the Transportation Committee. Would you suggest that we bring the street safety concerns to the Transportation Committee? Maybe there are traffic calming solutions that ANC support. Yes, I think this should absolutely be brought up. If you can bring it up to Commissioner Lakatos, then we can talk about it there. Or if Commissioner Jones, if you can follow up with that. And then how will we follow up on next steps of this process? I believe we already addressed that with info from Pastor Hart and Simone and Commissioner Jones. Okay. Moving on, ABR, but I do not see Commissioner Fields on. Commissioner Chauvin, I know you are an active committee member. Are you able to give these updates? Or did Commissioner Fields delegate this to someone and I do not know?
I do not know either, but I can move one piece that I know is of import. I will not speak to the other business.
Is that what's on the agenda or no?
That is on the agenda. It is the Whitlow's settlement agreement.
I do not unfortunately see it on the agenda. I do know that it was something, but can you bring that up in new business?
I will do that.
Thank you. Okay, well, this is in my SMD. So I guess I will go through this update. There is a renewal. I'm pretty sure it's a renewal for YOLO DC. That's on 14th Street. That is in it's a establishment in the old Victory space. I have not heard, I've heard mixed things. Hold on, let me just make sure, because I'm getting mixed up because I know that there were issues with Victory. However, I don't believe I have heard any concerns with YOLO. And I was going through my email. Commissioner Chauvin, did the committee vote on this? Did the committee discuss this? I'm not seeing anything here on the agenda.
I can't pick up for the chair right now. I've just sort of had my plate full. I apologize. And I've been preparing on some other matters for this meeting, so I apologize. Nobody was put on notice. I just have the agenda regarding Whitlow's, and I'll introduce that in new business.
That's not what I was asking. I was asking if you were at the ABR meeting and you knew if anything was discussed there on YOLO.
Yeah, I'll iterate. I am not speaking to other issues. I was present, but I had to leave that meeting for a little bit. So,
okay, let me go through the minutes then. Unless any other commissioners have. Okay. Send the. Okay. Decide if entity. Okay. Typically, sorry, there are fireworks going off on, I think, 14th. Typically the ABR committee reviews this because there are many matters regarding, and typically they do ask the commissioner who has the SMD in advance. Since I have not seen any complaints and I haven't heard any, then I'm not going to recommend that the commission protest this. Okay, and it looks like the next meeting will be announced unless Commissioner Trindade Duramo, do we know when the next meeting is?
No, not yet confirmed.
Okay.
Can I also have a question on the substance?
Sorry, I just opened up. Right now, it's slated on our calendar for July 17th, but if that changes, we will let everyone know. But go ahead, Commissioner Trindade Drama.
Just a question on this. Is it possible that the committee didn't even properly consider the matter because the minutes show that the agent for the applicant logged off the call?
I mean,
So
that's possible, but it's, you know, we have one, are any ABR committee members on and attendees right now? It's not looking like it. And I'm looking at the minutes. Yeah, again, I'm not seeing anything in the minutes that say that there were concerns and Commissioner Chauvin wasn't present during this discussion, and it says to refer to me. And again, I'm not seeing anything. I haven't heard any direct concerns. I just looked through my email. Hold on, I believe I just received, yeah. Yeah, so I'm not seeing anything. So I don't think we should protest. I will also note, I think the protest deadline, it's the 19th. Am I looking at this correctly? Hold on 1 second. Sorry. Scrolling up. On the 29th. So and yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not raising a motion. So okay. Economic development. I'm sorry, my dog is here because she is scared of the fireworks going off right now. So
Understandable. So we had a lengthy discussion 2 weeks ago at a special meeting on what the Economic Development Committee discussed in June. That was the revised application for zoning case 23-02 at 1617 U Street. The Economic Development Committee recommended a revised draft resolution to the full ANC by a unanimous vote. 2 weeks ago, the ANC voted, I believe, 6 in favor, 2 against, and 1 abstaining to support that resolution. And the Economic Development Committee has not met since then. I understand that earlier today, the Zoning Committee did meet and discuss that case. And if it is all right with the commission, I would ask that Chair Harris present on that because she attended that meeting and I did not.
yeah, so the zoning commission did meet today. It was a closed meeting, which means that there was no public comment. These are standard. It's not like they held this especially for this. They had other matters on their agenda. But they did vote to upzone 1617 U Street. Sorry, she sees someone outside about to bark. They did vote to upzone 1617 U Street with the smaller canvas proposed by Office of Planning. They also recognized, so they decided before voting that they would not hold a limited scope hearing and that hold on, I have notes. A second. And they discussed how other zones do not need to be discussed. The vote was unanimous, so 4 in favor. 1 vote being not voting because there hasn't been a 5th member appointed by the mayor. So if anyone has any further questions about what that process looks like, we are happy to answer it. We'll also continue to reiterate that this is not the only chance for us to talk about this development. We will still be talking about that in terms of what the community would like to see from the public parcel. But just wanted to update that the commission did vote to upzone the property to an MU10. Cedric, can you promote Commissioner Field as a panelist? I see her in the attendees. Thank you. Do commissioners have any questions on that? Cedric, I'm sorry, can you promote Commissioner Fields as a panelist, not permit her to speak? She's a panelist. Yeah, thank you. Okay, that's all the updates I have for 16-17.
The next meeting of the Economic Development Committee is scheduled for 1 week from today, 6:30 p.m. On Thursday, the 18th via Zoom. And as always, check the ANC 1B website. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrative, I will just reiterate one thing. We are looking for a new 1B admin. Really appreciate, Cedric, your time on ANC 1B. And we will send out the link for the admin. But wanted to plug that here. Okay, actually, sorry, before we move on to Executive Council Member, Commissioner, and Community announcements, Commissioner Fields, we did not take any action on YOLO. Do you have any thoughts? Commissioner Chauvin couldn't speak to what the committee had discussed, and we looked through the minutes, and I looked through my records and didn't see any complaints. But before we move on, wanted to make sure you had some time to answer anything that we might have missed.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys both weighing in. I haven't heard any complaints about this entity. They made a good effort to show up to our committee meeting until they had to log off due to a medical emergency, but they've agreed to come back on for our meeting next month and share. So at this time, I don't recommend a protest. At our committee meeting, we did vote to have you weigh in, and since it's in your SMD, to see if you had heard anything. So right now, I don't think we need to take any further action either.
Okay. I would just add that committees, and this doesn't just go for ABR, to please weigh in on what the committee recommends. That is, we rely upon you all for your recommendation. A commissioner will weigh in if they see fit at the commission meeting, so you don't need to vote on that because we won't likely do that if needed. Okay, so Executive Council Member, Commissioner, and Community announcements. Office of the Council Member, Nicole.
Hey everyone. So a few updates from our office. The council members sent a letter on July 3rd to the city administrator and the Office of Unified Communications, OUC. That is the agency that manages our 911 system and our 311 system, regarding persistent mismanagement of emergencies and a lack of transparency. There's a documented history of OUC making critical errors, including dispatching EMS to the wrong address, misdirecting calls, failing to prioritize emergencies, and simply not answering 911 calls. We cited several incidents in Ward 1 in a short period of time, and Ward 1 residents have reported many additional incidents to our office. Residents really don't have confidence that when they call 911, someone will pick up or dispatch it correctly or quickly. And, it's not clear to us why the mayor or OUC doesn't seem to be taking this seriously. So we're continuing to sound the alarm. In the letter, she requested daily staffing statistics for the past 2 years, an updated list and number of agency mistakes for April to June by July 15th, and a briefing on plan changes with the city administrator by July 19th. That letter is posted online on our website. A few things on amplified sound legislation. Our committee took up a bill from Chairman Mendelson that would address resident and business concerns about amplified public performances. The goal of the bill and a companion bill that the council member introduced is to protect the vibrant musical and cultural history of neighborhoods while also giving relief to the residents who have lived or moved here, reasonable protections from excessive sound in their homes. The chairman's bill has existed in various forms for a long time. And the council member in our office, we've worked with the performance community and the chairman to put in place rules that really reflect the needs of the community. So we're looking forward to a hearing on our bill, the Harmonious Living Amendment Act of 2024, later in the legislative session. We also held a hearing with the firm that conducted the independent investigation of the Felchicchio case. We're continuing to do our best to ensure that going forward, we're learning from this incident and improving the way that we protect district employees from sexual harassment. We have legislation pending that would require independent third-party investigations anytime allegations of sexual harassment are made against high-level executive branch employees. A few ANC specific updates. The 14th Street Road Safety Audit from DDOT is working to identify transportation safety issues on the 14th Street corridor between Thomas Circle and Euclid Street. They're taking comments and feedback until July 15th. We will have more to report soon, but HIPS has reported to us that they have data showing really high levels of success with their substance use disorder outreach program this past year. This was funded with $200,000 by the council member in this year's budget and has been renewed for the coming year. It's also been successful in some other locations. And based on these pilots, another 3 locations were added for next year. So we'll have more info and data on this coming soon. Our next Brianna on Your Block is on July 30th at 6 p.m. at Judy Restaurant. That's at 2212 14th Street Northwest. This is when folks can come and talk to the council member and one-on-one conversations about anything you'd like to talk about. So I encourage folks to come out. And council recess starts next week. That doesn't mean we are on vacation. We are still working hard. So don't hesitate to reach out to us if you need anything, even though we are on recess and won't be holding any hearings. And I did look into the question of the trash. There is a bill. It's from Councilmember Christina Henderson. It would expand city trash collection to some smaller multifamily units. Our committee held a hearing on it, but it was dual referred also to CBED, the Committee on Business and Economic Development. So they would also have to hold a hearing for the bill to move forward. So we're just waiting on them to take it up in their committee. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. There is, you know what, go, actually, no, since we have you here, there's one question, related to, OUC, but have OUC, the city administrator or the mayor responded to the council member's 911 letter?
They have not. So we are following up, to try to get a response to that letter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jones.
Thank you. I have questions further about 2 matters you raised. The first is the 911 and the OUC issue. Last year, there were in short order 2 serious mishaps in communication between WMATA and their emergency services and OUC that resulted in, I think, in one case, a delay of the issuing emergency response by 12 minutes. And I think the other case was 20 minutes. That's obviously, and in one case, it was a smoke issue in, specifically I'm talking about at the U Street station and at the Shaw Howard University station. One was even a smoke issue, which, as we know, is one of the ways that Metro has been dangerous in the past. So I'd appreciate it if the council member could look into that in addition to the other topics. The other is the talking about the mayor's disgraced former chief of staff, Valchicchio. Most of the investigations so far have been about workplace issues, but in fact, one of the issues that was brought up was that someone seeking to do business with the DC government was propositioned for sex in the chief of staff's home. This is pretty, like, this reeks of corruption. Frankly, it's an attempt to either extort someone in order to do business or to try to get personal benefit in order to get government business. So I hope that the council member focuses on the corruption angle as well. Again, it's unacceptable that the gentleman apparently harassed people in the workplace, and it is also unacceptable that he engaged in behavior that looked like trading sexual favors for DC. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something we're looking at. I think a big learning from this was in the initial investigation, the existing sexual harassment order did not cover that. And so the show was not in her scope to investigate that, which was, of course, a detriment to the original investigation. So that's certainly a learning as we refine our legislation to update the sexual harassment rules for the executive that we're looking into. Absolutely. Thanks, Commissioner.
Commissioner Trindade.
On the harmonious, I don't remember the title of the noise bill, the harmonious living.
Harmonious living.
Thank you. Is there? I looked at it months ago. I don't know if it's changed since then. Could you tell us if there's any funding for remediation for existing structures that are causing noise, or is this perspective only in terms of standards?
For new structures, I'm 99% sure. I'll confirm that and follow up with you.
Sorry, more fireworks. Not that I don't enjoy showing my dog. Are there any other questions from the community or commissioners? Okay, great. Thank you for joining us, Nicole.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Oh, all right. Office of the Mayor, Mr. Robertson. Even though we know you gave updates before, but I don't know if you have anything further to add from the beginning of the meeting.
No, ma'am, nothing further to add, but I just want to thank everybody for me being here, and it's very good education. I took like 1,000 notes, so I will be having something soon, something to report back soon. Thank y'all.
Thank you again for joining us, and welcome to Ward 1.
Glad to be here.
Commissioner announcements. Okay. Community announcement.
I am sorry, I've been having some tech issues. I had to reboot my computer. Did I miss the piece? Was there substantial conversation regarding Whitlow's, or has that come up yet?
We are not to new business yet. We are at, we just passed commissioner announcements.
Great. I would like to make a quick announcement then on the matter of the performance parking zone. And Commissioner Santiago Lakatos will be holding a special meeting of the Transportation Committee in July to review the parking performance program, which DDOT just put out notice and NOI this week. There's 45 days to comment. And so it's a substantial program that's important to everybody here. I know that there's 45 days to comment, so people should get a copy. If we can maybe get it out on the list, it would be great. I don't know if we have any follow-up communications after this meeting where we could distribute that. And/or we'll just wait for Commissioner Lakatos to make the announcement, and perhaps, yes, special date, Commissioner, I think is the 27th, but we went back and forth with some emails, so we'll be putting notice out. Just wanted to make that comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we can't send out any follow-up if we don't have the date of the meeting. So if you can confirm the date of the meeting, then we can send out follow-up. Commissioner Kinsick and then Commissioner Trindade Durama.
Yeah, I just I'm still having issues with noise complaints on 14th Street. We had proposed and approved a letter 2 meetings ago. Out of respect to a couple of commissioners, I held off on sending the letter, which I think was, to the point. But the constituents are still having the same problems. I'm still getting the same calls. Salah Sapari is involved, and there's been so many hands involved. And honestly, if I was these people, I'd be like, what in the hell does DC do? They've gotten run around, dragged around. It's just too much. So I kindly asked the commissioners that were asking me to hold off on the letter to either add or take away what they need to. We need to send something strong from 1B because this is becoming a real nuisance for the area. Thank you.
Okay. This isn't that's not exactly an announcement, but I understand where you're coming from. However, have you talked with the owners?
Yes, I have spoken to both owners. I don't want to say their names, but yes, I've spoken to both of them. We've had meetings. They have been getting issued some summons. Some have gotten thrown out. Some have come back out. They're not. It just seems like it's a never-ending saga, and I'm trying to get the balance of the two. No disrespect to Commissioner Field, I haven't really gotten direction from ABCA or besides that vote we took, and I appreciate Commissioner Chauvin's help with a lot of this and his knowledge and background. But these people have been here for 3 years, and like I said, nothing against the place. I support businesses. I just it seems like it's never ending. I got involved in February, but it's been going on since November, and I just know that homeowners who call and text me quite often, they're just really fed up. I mean, they have an attorney. And I feel like they keep adding more names, like Salah. It was Director Masali a month ago, Commissioner Fields 2 months ago. It just keep adding, but we're not doing anything. And that's not saying us, but I just feel bad for them, to be honest. And they're not even on this call. I just in general, I just think it's really unacceptable. So I just hope that I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, we didn't invite them. So we can talk more, Commissioner Kinsick. I will say though, since the commission did vote on the letter, the commission needs to send the letter, not just you. So that would require my signature and Commissioner Trindade Durama's signature. We can certainly talk more offline. Maybe there is a way for us to find a mediator or some sort of solution to this, but I think it is something that we can discuss offline. I think it seems like we all want a solution here, so we can certainly try to figure it out.
Thank you.
Commissioner Trindade Durama.
I misspoke earlier, actually, about when I said that the Transportation Committee would not be meeting in July, and I'm glad that I was reminded to correct that, and I do have the actual date, which is the 25th, although I'll also ask Commissioner Lakatos to send out a formal notice of that, and I think it may be on the website already. If not, we'll do that. So that'll be the special meeting that was mentioned earlier to discuss the performance parking system. It shows up on the website, indeed. Thank you, Commissioner Jones. We got it covered.
Thank you. Okay, are there any community announcements? Okay, I am not seeing any. Okay, now on to new business. Whoever raises their hand first gets to go. All right, Commissioner Trindade Durama.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to handle the final transit-related resolution. The text was emailed around to commissioners, but it was not in the agenda packet since it was submitted late. I will share my screen once again. should be happening now. Yes. This is a resolution. There we go. To address, to request a small fix from DDOT, which is about to put in a bit of a change in traffic pattern on the 1900 block of 7th Street Northwest. I can show a picture of it in a moment. This has been an area that I can't switch it easily. Sorry, this is clunky. There we go. This is the intersection of 7th and Florida. North is to the right on this image. Sorry, it's a little bit confusing. This small block here between T and Florida has been used for lots of illegal parking. The information I received from the Transportation Committee is that MPD is reticent to ticket or boot cars on this block because of criminal activity. There have been some violent incidents. There was a murder a year ago, I believe, on this block. And apparently MPD believes or knows that the cars that are often illegally parked here belong to people who are involved in the illicit sale of controlled substances. So they've worked with DDOT and produced a plan to close this lane on this small block to parking with some flex posts and a bike lane. What the Transportation Committee is interested in seeing done is the entire block being closed with flex posts. As you see, this is DDOT's proposed structure that I'm showing on the screen, and there is a small section in the middle with curb cuts, meaning a car could enter this section here where there's no flex posts. In the image, you see a truck right there. But that leads to an unused lot that's been abandoned for many years. So there's no reason that, and there's a like a grate and a fence at the sidewalk there. So there's no reason that a car would need to turn in there. So the resolution, which I will share once again, is just requesting that the entire block be closed off with flex posts, no curb cut. And of course, should that property ever be developed in the future, those flex posts are fairly easy to remove. So for now, this seems to be the best and most comprehensive way to deal with some of the illegal activity and illegal parking that's going on the block.
Okay, are there any questions? Okay. Commissioner Trinidadi-Drama, can you take off? Thank you. Do you have a question to your own? Okay, thank you.
No.
Just Commissioner Kensick.
Yeah, I just really want to hear from Commissioner Chauvin and also Vice Chair Handerhan on this as they're immediately impacted. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. How about I get through these and then we'll get to you, Commissioner Handerhan and Commissioner Chauvin. Commissioner Jones.
Thanks. This is an area that the Economic Development Committee hears about all the time. I'm sure the Public Safety Committee does as well. There is a persistent problem with apparent drug use and more importantly, dealing, and a history of violence in this area that's associated with the specific cars that are also illegally parked in the existing right turn lane. So again, the existing right turn lane already not usable due to illegal activity. The Department of Public Works is unlikely to enforce against it because, again, some of these people are engaged in violent and illegal activity, and the parking police don't want to risk their life for that, and I understand that. Not closing that little gap that Commissioner Trinidadi-Drama showed leaves somewhere for people to continue to park illegally, continue to engage in illegal and potentially violent behavior. So I see this as a common sense, just close off that curb cut entirely. It does not lead anywhere. It can be opened back up if someone ever buys that site and uses it. But as of now, it's not used at all. And not closing that gap will result in a worse safety situation than closing the gap would. Again, this is specifically about people who are using that public space in our neighborhood to engage in dangerous and illegal activity. Thank you.
Commissioner Sycamore.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't honestly, I kind of have the total opposite view of you, Commissioner Jones. I don't see how a lot of this is going to alleviate anything. People are going to be doing illegal activity there no matter what. Whether we have parking there, whether we have that closed off, that block has been a problem consistently. And just taking care of that one teeny tiny little area is not going to solve any problems. We need to look at that block in totality, everywhere from Florida Avenue, T Street, all the way onto 7th Street, to really address this problem. And I don't see just doing this in little piecemeals how it's going to resolve really anything. On top of that, when you're talking about bike lanes, bikers, I'm a biker. I bike all over the city. There's bikers all the time that don't use these bike lanes that are already provided over on 9th Street and the surrounding areas. So that's really, for me, a very frustrating thing as well. And number three, these flex posts, they're going to be knocked down within 3 months anyway, because people are going to just drive over them. They're not going to care. I have a really hard time supporting this proposal because I just don't feel that this is a comprehensive solution. This is a Band-Aid on a wound. And I'm sure that Commissioner Chauvin also has a lot of opinions on this as well. And I know a lot of people in the community, even as far north as here, have issues with this area because we walk past it and we patronize these businesses that are around there all the time, and we see what goes on there. And I don't think that this is a correct solution, and I don't want to really support anything until I see something in totality. Thank you.
Commissioner Sycamore, do you have any suggestions on what else could be added? I understand the need for something comprehensive, but it also feels like if we don't suggest anything, then the answer is nothing.
You know, you bring up a great point. I don't have anything right at this moment, but I would love to have some time to talk about that with maybe other commissioners to brainstorm on see what we can do on that.
Okay, Commissioner Chauvin.
Yes, I'm sorry. I've been having some tech problems deeply. And I think we're talking about the Transportation Committee's proposal for 1900 block of 7th Street, east side, in front of the bank. Am I correct? All right. Well, this is a matter that is of deep import to an entire task force that was established called the T Street Task Force. And they've been convening once a month for 18 months. And this is one of the best measures that has been formulated to take a step forward. Yes, we have HIPs out there working on harm reduction. However, there is drug dealing, no assessment of violation fines for parking in this lane. And this is the simple best present opportunity to make a substantial change to habits in this block where drugs are being sold daily. Go out right now, you'll see drugs being sold off that block. And so this is a consortium of 76 people that have worked on this, asking DDOT to do this. So I ask folks to support this measure, and as devised and helped by our very capable Transportation Committee chair. And I am supportive of it. Thank you.
Commissioner Henry.
Most of what I was going to say has already been addressed, but I would just add one thing to what Commissioner Sycamore said, which is you're absolutely right. We need comprehensive solutions here. This is part of what the task force that Frank just mentioned proposed as part of a comprehensive plan. So would just encourage everyone to, it's kind of in the mode of throw everything we have at a challenging problem. And this is, I think, closing down this lane has been something we've tried in several different ways. This is the most recent effort, and I would suggest that we try and agree with Commissioner Jones that if we don't get the curb closed, it's not going to have the impact that we want to have from a public safety perspective. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I'm seeing, okay. We're gonna get to you, Commissioner Trindade-Taramo, and then we're gonna get to Commissioner Sycamore, because I'm assuming Commissioner Handerhan, your hand is gonna be down. Go ahead, Commissioner Trindade-Taramo.
Thank you. Just wanted to clarify. I don't think the some of the comments were really apropos just because the resolution is not endorsing the entire flex post concrete structure. That's already like moving ahead without us. All we're asking for is that it be closed and continuous over the course of that little block. So if you think that flex posts aren't the best solution for this, I mean, at least let us try this solution fully on that one block, perhaps, and see if it works. Because the flex posts are going up whether this resolution passes or not. We just want it. We just want that one curb cut closed so it's continuous.
Commissioner Sycamore.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, especially to Commissioner Chauvin for explaining that a little bit more. I was not aware that this was a T Street task force request. I default to you as kind of the expert who's been working on this for a long time, so I do thank you for that. I do hope that maybe we could get concrete barriers in there as opposed to flex posts. But that would be, I guess, my only real thing right now. But I still do think we need something more comprehensive. But if this is something that, especially Commissioner Chauvin really feels passionately about, I would like to throw my support behind that. Then, thank you for your passion and your commitment.
Commissioner Trindade-Geronimo, do you want to, and I know you added this in the chat, but something in regards to the
Yes.
flex post.
Sorry, also on that point, there are flex posts and concrete curb stops. So two types of structure involved, not just flex posts.
Commissioner Handerhan.
Sorry, that was a mistake.
Commissioner Chauvin.
Yeah, I just will iterate Commissioner Trindade-Geronimo. Yes, there is an immense use of concrete, what you want to call them, bumper stops, car stops, like those dividers on the ground. What are they, about 6 inches high and 4 feet long? They're using both, and I guess I'm not sure how they decide how much and where, but that was a concern raised by folks that have reviewed this. Actually, Commissioner Handerhan and Commissioner Lakatos both mentioned that as a concern. So perhaps we add that caveat that as much as possible that concrete be utilized.
Okay. Are there any other comments, questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, motion. I move that we approve the 1900 block of 7th Curb Street cut closure resolution as printed and distributed. And I will also note that the second be it resolved clause in this resolution requests that DDOT employ concrete curb stops for the entirety of the buffer to prevent drivers from running over flex posts to illegally park. So, believing that this resolution has addressed everyone's concerns already, I move that it be adopted.
I'll second that.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes with 8 yeas, 0 nays, 0 abstentions. Right? Yes, thank you. All right, I think there is okay, hold on one second. Actually, there is one comment in here that we've held off. I know we've heard rumblings about this. I know that NOI just came out. I'm just going to read this out. And then if any commissioners want to comment, we can. I don't think there's anything in front of the ANC right now for this. So we should only maybe comment or add any additional context if folks have it. But this is a new topic, but I have to leave at 8 to join. Apologies, Matthew. But I have to leave at 8 to join another call. DDOT let us know that they're in the pre-design phase for Vermont/11th Street Northwest bike lanes, and construction would not start until 2025 after community input. They also plan to begin construction at Vermont and 11th intersection in August. How can you start construction when you don't have plans on either side of the intersection? We do not want to stop the work. We just want to pause it until the entire plan is ready. I will ask if I'm here, but I know time is tight. Okay, so maybe we can get in touch with Matthew. I think there was an NOI issued to upgrade the intersection. When an NOI is issued, that means the community has time to comment on this. I'm not aware of the other plans. The NOI date was 3/5. So wait, has comment passed? All right, here, please raise your little hand so that I can see the order. Commissioner Jones.
Sorry, I wasn't able to do that because I was trying to reference the materials. If I'm looking at the same NOI that you're looking at, Madam Chair, which give me
I'm
one.
not looking at an NOI. I'm going off of what Commissioner Lakatos has
So
mentioned.
I'm looking at an NOI labeled NOI-24-81-TESD, and I will put that in the chat. So if this is the
I did
correct,
not write that down.
I'm putting it in the chat. So if this is the one, this date, this was issued on March 15th of this year, and comments have already closed on that. That in that NOI, it's listed that they were attempting to be responsive to resolutions from ANC 1B and ANC's 2F and 2G to add infrastructure to that area. And that what they proposed already took into account the input of ANC 1B. It'll take me a few minutes to try to figure out when we passed a resolution on that topic. I don't have our materials there, but from that material, it looks like we did already pass a resolution in support of the safety improvements at that area. And an NOI was issued. We may have further commented on that, but I'm going to have to look at our notes on that as well.
Okay, and maybe that's something we can share with this person who commented. So I think it's kind of a moot point since this is already passed. I understand the concerns, and like many community members, we have concerns with how agencies notice, and because I also am aware they probably issued this when Commissioner Holohan, this was issued when Commissioner Holohan was already resigned. But yeah, we will follow up with other ANC pieces that we have. If Matthew is still watching or watches the recording back. Okay, let's go ahead and move on. Commissioner Jones, do you have any other thoughts? Sorry, I just am being a stickler with hands because it's just easier for me to see. Okay, I think there is a settlement agreement, right, Commissioner Shevin? Or an amendment to a settlement agreement, forgive me.
Yes, it's a simple amendment. There is two existing settlement agreements for Whitlow's, which sits at the corner of 9th and U Street at the intersection of U and Florida on 9th. Whitlow's was 2 doors north for a couple of years, gave up that space, has a settlement agreement that carried over. It's very detailed. It's written outside of our regular templates. They hired an attorney. It was amended when they moved into the new space with the help of this commission. Actually, probably former Commissioner Holohan worked on it. However, all that's in place. It doesn't remove just because they're applying for changed hours of operation. So this one pager, actually it's 1.5, I think, with signatures, but it asks for expanded operating hours from 7 in the morning to begin operating. And 8 a.m. alcohol sales. And it's predominantly to undertake soccer watching parties and maybe some breakfasts, but it's a pretty simple maneuver. There's no negotiation. There wasn't any negotiations here. It was just a simple, that's what they asked for, and I personally don't have any problems with it. They have no record of violations. They are an incredibly immense asset to the neighborhood. They do nothing but make sure that everybody's happy when there's a problem raised with them.
Great, yeah, and I mean, I remember, I think even when they were moving into the space, and thank you for providing that context in terms of the settlement agreements. I think we will see a lot more renewals coming up. So if an establishment already has a settlement agreement in place and it was put in place maybe 2 years ago, we really should ask ourselves what needs to change, especially if there have been no complaints or other community issues. I will also say that it is important for the commission, if the commission has previously voted on the settlement agreement, for the commission to vote on that. I understand timing though, so that's where the SMD commissioner comes into place. I do have one question on the agreement. Why is it that they're not seeking, I guess, like a special like permit or something to expand their hours when soccer matches are happening versus just like permanent increased hours?
I really do not have an answer to that. They want to do some breakfast. I mean, it's not just soccer. It's expanded hours by a good operator, and negotiating noise problems generally. I think this falls into the consensus that there is no really morning noise problems. I mean, they're not going to have live loud bands blaring into people's house, and if they do, they said they'd work with us, but we don't really expect that. It's never been a problem in my 5 years on settlement agreements in this corridor in 1B, and they just want it generically to leave it open again for other opportunities, including breakfasts.
Sure. And sorry, I wasn't asking about noise. I was just generally wondering why they were seeking that instead of just like special permits that many establishments sometimes seek. So thank you for that context. Okay. Are there any other comments, questions? Okay, do we have a motion?
I motion to approve.
Oh, actually, I'm sorry. Commissioner Chauvin, I do have one other question. I apologize. I'm sorry. Has there been any movement on maybe consolidating these settlement agreements so there's not two different ones?
There's three, going to be three now, right?
I would ask you if we're voting on this third one, that maybe at the next meeting and ask them if we can consolidate all three of them. So then it also makes matters easier for future commission.
Going forward. Yes, I 100% agree. And I will ask him after we get this amendment approved. I think he'll probably have no problem with it. I expect.
Excellent. Thank you. Sorry, go ahead and make your motion. I apologize.
I motion to approve the expanded operating hours for Whitlow's Whitlow's Tavern at 9th and U/Florida. I don't have, I'll give you the address if we need to include it in there in a sec. But for expanded operating hours beginning at 7 a.m. Daily and then 8 a.m. for service of alcohol.
We have a second.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Fields.
Yeah, earlier today I emailed all commissioners about this issue and about the lack of awareness about the updated settlement agreement, in addition to being involved in conversations with the entity as we voted on at the last meeting. And I'm really disappointed that it seems as if my leadership on this topic and all topics regarding ABCA have been disregarded. And I hope moving forward in the future there can be some collaborative effort and better awareness and heads up about things of this sort. I mean, this matter could have been easily sorted out on our ABCA committee call when I called for a vote on this and everyone was in favor of it, but Frank held it and, met with the entity privately, which, of course he should do. It's in his SMD, but, to not include other commissioners and other committee members and people in the community who might have been a part of the conversation just seems really exclusive and limiting. So I am in favor of Whitlow's, changing to these hours, but, in the future and moving forward, I don't think that, private conversations or conversations that exclude other comments from the general public or the public that, is in 1B and affected by this should continue to happen. And I'll continue to raise concerns about it.
I think it's important for the commission to certainly be collaborative, but I do tend to lean on the commissioner who represents the SMD, especially for the varying establishments. None of the matters that we discuss are private. They can certainly be FOIA'd and can be retained through, you know, that FOIA and through emails. This is in Commissioner Chauvin's SMD. If there were community members, you know, Commissioner Chauvin, I hope you would involve them. It seems like you would. I do know we did vote on the last commission meeting to involve you. However, like there will be many more establishments that come up. So I would advise all commissioners who have establishments in their districts to lean on other commissioners for support, whatever is needed there, and to raise the concerns which are being raised at the commission meeting. This is a valid point, that they can be raised at the commission meeting. This is where we vote on things. They can also be raised at a committee level, but this is where they can also be raised. It's not anyone's fault if things come up here, which is also why we have new business and which is why we're discussing this in new business. Commissioner Fields, I don't know if you have any other comments. Your hand is still raised.
Yeah, I do. I don't think I should have to FOIA my fellow commissioners to, you know, be aware of things that are happening that are already within my purview and that have already been voted on by the full commission. And as you mentioned, there will be a lot of other placards to be reviewed, and it's important that we set a strong precedent for those cases. Frank cannot just have private conversations with the entity and his friends and his neighbors. That has to be extended to people who are part of 1B, and that's part of why it's important for these topics and the establishment owners to be on the APCA calls, and for there to be a proper public notification and for people to have the opportunity to weigh in. And that just simply did not happen in this case, and that's unfortunate.
I think that's a bit of an unfair assessment that you're calling Commissioner Chauvin doing like backhanded deals or anything like that. I'm not saying you should FOIA Commissioner Chauvin. You are well within your right to do so. But it seems like it's pretty public. I will also say, while I was a ABR committee member last term, not this term, and Whitlow's was very engaged. So if they didn't show up, you know, that's something that certainly
Whitlow's did show up, and we tried to vote in our committee, and Frank paused that and stopped that from happening. So that's my concern until Frank was able to do his due process justice. That's what happened, and it's unfair that it's being painted differently on the call. And again, precedent needs to be
Point of
set.
order. Point of order.
If Frank wants to chair the ABR
Point of
committee,
order.
he had the opportunity to do so, and he denied it because you can't vote as chair. But for him to continue perpetuating an unfair standard for entities that are in his neighborhood or in
Point
other
of order. Commissioner disrespect another commissioner.
Your point of order is out of order.
It's
Please let Commissioner Fields finish.
It's completely unfair that this continues to happen, and that commissioners, and I believe as a chairperson, you're supporting this. He has to deal with things at the committee level and to give everyone a fair process. This isn't Frank goes behind and talks to people privately, which is what happened in this matter.
I object to the aspersions being made
as a
by this
committee,
commissioner, and I would like the chair to call order.
Okay. No, your point of order is out of order. Commissioner Fields has the floor to speak.
So all I'm saying is we need to set a fair precedent for all entities, and we have to stick by ABCA standards. We're not going to have these things where we can go back and wait until Frank is able to do his due diligence and his own investigation to approve an entity or disapprove them or hold them from making changes, because he will not allow the committee to vote, and he will not allow this to be presented to the
I have one vote, excuse me, and is the timer on?
The timer is on, but Commissioner Chauvin, please hold on just for a moment. Commissioner Fields, you have 5 more seconds left.
Thank you. That's all I have to say. Happy to address after Commissioner Chauvin speaks or to what he believes is true or not true, but he's all
okay. Well, okay, listen, we're gonna cool this down. Okay. So first of all, the commission is the one that votes on these matters. The committee, as much as all of us values their work, I'm not diminishing the committee's work. There's no formalized ABCA process that a commission's ABR committee must hear something first. That's not how it is.
I understand that.
Please let me finish, Commissioner Fields. You had your time. Now I have my time. the commission reviews this and votes on this. That is what ABCA will be looking at. Not the committee's minutes, the committee's recommendations, none of that. Now, the commission does review the committee's recommendations and the committee's minutes and relies upon what the committee does recommend. Now, that doesn't mean that the commission will always vote with the committee, as we have all seen in the past, and as Commissioner Chauvin has been frustrated with. But we do look at that and we do pay attention to that. Now, if this is an interpersonal communication matter, we should discuss this offline. This does not seem very productive right now to start calling out people's characteristics and behaviors. We are, though, following the process that is instructed by ABCA. We do vote on settlement agreements. They do not have to go in front of the ABR committee first. They can come to the commission for us to vote on. And we also direct in all of our transmittals that the SMD commissioner can represent the ANC or other committee members or the committee chair. In this instance, Commissioner Chauvin is the SMD member. Now, if you have issues with what he is presenting to the committee or other things, I think that should be raised with Commissioner Chauvin. I don't think it's productive to be raised here. We can talk about it. We're talking about it now, but we are following that process. All right, I need a timer. Commissioner Trindade Durama, you need to time me because I want to make sure it's all fair. Commissioner Chauvin.
Yes, I have a point of personal, I forget the term, I'm not the parliamentarian of
What you're
elite.
gonna say. You don't need to practice it.
Well, my point is, there is aspersions being made against my character and my conduct in my neighborhood on this commission, okay? And that needs to stop now, okay? Aspersions, okay, about my character, me going behind the scenes, you've enumerated them, Chair Harris. It needs to stop. And if I need to call a question or a motion for, treatment of other commissioners on this commission, then I'll call for it. But it's been happening. My name is being used to accentuate a motion made at the level of the committee. Frank made this motion. Nowhere else does those direct comments made from any of the committee chairs, and it needs to stop. I will not sit here and be accused of bad dealing and misdealing. All right. My reputation for 5 years on this commission as a volunteer for 4.5, 4 3/4 has been perfect, kind, gentle, and nowhere have I had this problem. And I don't expect it to continue. So I thank you for your ear, and thank you for all of your kind contributions to this effort and all of our efforts.
Well, I will note there was a comment in the Q&A from Karen Gall that there was no openness on the Whitlow settlement agreement. I will just note that I have negotiated many settlement agreements. And at no point have I ever been accused, if I needed to go and negotiate it with the SMD as the SMD commissioner, at no point has someone raised that there was no openness, because we would have to vote on it at the commission. Also, these settlement agreements are public. They are public. Now, mediation is not public, but settlement agreements are public. So this whole argument of openness, I get the collaboration. I get that. And I think Commissioner Chauvin might be open to that. I would hope so. I think I'm open to any settlement agreements that I negotiate for collaboration. We oftentimes use a template that was voted on by a commission my last term. So I am a little confused at what the issue is here, because we are following the process that ABCA has, and I'm not seeing any misguidings or anything from Commissioner Chauvin that raises flags for me. Commissioner Trindade Duramo.
A question for Commissioner Fields, if she's able to respond. Did the proposed settlement agreement that we're considering right now, was it reviewed by the ABR committee?
It was not. We did not have it in receipt. And the only reason that I'm raising issue about this matter, and I don't appreciate how it's been improperly characterized, is because at the last full commission meeting, we voted that Frank would include myself and other members of the committee in this process with Whitlow's, which absolutely did not happen. And the process that Whitlow's has gone through to receive some vote now at the full commission level is completely different than what we are about to do or what we have done for YOLO and other establishments. And as chair of that committee, it's only right that I raise concerns when things are unfair. And that's what's happening here. And what we voted on in the commission at the last meeting did not happen. And so the openness that you're discussing, Chair Harris, is only being asked about because that is something we voted on at the full commission level that never took place. So now people have been cut out of the process. And in a sense, there has been a back deal.
Who are these people? Who are all these people clamoring to be at the table?
Point of order. It's my time, not Commissioner Chauvin's time.
Go ahead, Commissioner Trindade Duramo.
Thank you. A few additional questions. I didn't understand exactly how did we move from the last commission meeting to the this third version of the settlement agreement? Commissioner Chauvin, did you deal bilaterally with the owners of Whitlow's?
So Howard, I'm a little concerned about the management. I'm now being asked by a commissioner. I'm giving floor and timing to answer a question like I'm on the stand. So let me say this: the exact approval in the last meeting said that Frank and Ashley shall be appointed as lead negotiators. Okay. Does that tell you how I'm supposed to talk, when I'm supposed to talk, where I'm supposed to talk, and how many minutes I'm supposed to talk? No, it says that appointed as lead negotiators. There was no negotiation. It's a simple, okay, I have no problem with it. Is there a negotiation in that act when I had a conversation with my neighbor who lives across the street as we walked through the club? No negotiation. It's simply saying, fine, it all looks good. I have no negotiation. There was no negotiation. That's the bottom line, because the verbatim was appointed as lead negotiators. That was the motion last meeting. I'm sorry if I didn't. Did I answer your question, sir?
No, the question was when you spoke with John, that was just you and John. Is that right?
That was me and my neighbor.
Is your neighbor named John?
No. John is the owner of the club that I've been communicating with for about 6 months.
I was asking you about your communication.
John Williams. I think I forwarded you the email that he was included on earlier today, because he forwarded the small little addendum as the approved settlement agreement on the matter of the expanded hours. That went to Commissioner Fields on the 5th of July. She had that. I said, do you have any questions, thoughts, concerns? No response, nothing.
Fine. And just final question. Sorry, but when did you deliver the settlement agreement, the proposed amendment to your fellow commissioners?
My fellow commissioners, I gave it to the chair of the ABR committee on the 5th of July.
Right, but to all the commissioners here.
Well, I would expect that would have been in the packet.
It wasn't.
Isn't that where you get
Okay,
information regarding ABR committee?
As a correction, sometimes settlement agreements don't have to come in a week in advance. Sometimes based on just like talking with the establishment. I know that this is a lot of folks' first time. I'm not trying to talk down to anyone. But sometimes these settlement agreements don't come in at the time that we need them to come in, because we're working with external entities that don't function on the same timing that we do, which is why we have this in new business.
That's fine. I'm sorry. My question to Commissioner Chauvin was just when did he distribute the settlement agreement to the commissioners? All of us.
I'm not sure. You've asked that same question, Commissioner, 3 times. And I said, I provided it, I think the same day I got it from the owner, John Williams, and I sent it to Commissioner Fields. And then probably about 4 days ago, I included John followed up with me. How are you doing? I said, I don't know. And I brought in Commissioner Fields, and I think I added Chair Harris at that point. And I said, any questions, any thoughts? I mean, I haven't heard, so I don't know.
So I'm seeing in the email, we're just going to answer this. Mr. Chauvin is not on trial. This is really standard, y'all. This is standard. I get frustrations around collaboration, all of that, but this is a very standard procedure, okay? This is getting a little out of hand for something very standard. This is not abnormal. Okay, and if we have interpersonal communication and collaboration issues, I think that is something that we can all address after this call, not on this call. So whatever other comments that are coming up, let's stick to the process, not characteristics, not frustrations, those things. When I'm seeing in my email, I am seeing on Friday, July 5th at 10:14 p.m. an email sent to Commissioner Fields, John Williams, CCing Commissioner Chauvin's ANC email address from his Yahoo account. Okay, that was July 5th. Today, we were sent at 3:28 p.m. the amendment to the settlement agreement. And I am saying, as chair, that is okay. We are bringing this up in new business because sometimes it comes up. I get that maybe Commissioner Chauvin was waiting to hear back from other comments, and then it was raised that we hadn't seen this, so that's why he sent it then. Don't want to put words in your mouth, but I just want to reiterate, this is a very standard thing that we should not be spending now, I don't know how many minutes on. Okay, we're moving on. There is no, after these hands, Commissioner Chauvin, you're done, or maybe not.
Sorry, I still have 25 seconds.
Okay, please go ahead, but this is standard, okay? So please ask questions around process.
I'm done. I took my hand down.
Process is all I'm focusing on here. I just, the SOPs say that the committee, ABR, shall review all proposed settlement agreements. That didn't happen. The SOPs state that every settlement agreement must be circulated no later than 8 a.m. on the day of the commission meeting at which is to be considered for approval. And this commission also voted at the previous meeting to make sure that Commissioners Fields and Chauvin worked together on this. None of that was done. I don't want to make Whitlow's pay for our procedural problems. I don't believe they deserve that. This should be approved on the merits, but the procedure is messed up, and it can't happen anymore in the future.
Thank you for raising that, but that is something that needs to be corrected because not every settlement agreement, especially with the busy season, this is not my first rodeo. This is going to be my second renewal season. And so I hope you all will get ready because we're going to have a lot more than just this one. And so we're going to have meetings if it keeps going like this until 12 a.m. So then we need to update the SOPs. But I believe we still should vote on this tonight. Commissioner Sycamore.
Chair Harris, thank you so much. I think I really have to applaud you for your leadership through this. Frank, thank you so much for your work. I know you've been dedicating a lot of your time to this. And Commissioner Fields, I understand where you're coming from. I would encourage you to possibly start looking into maybe a little bit more respectful language, especially when it comes to calling Commissioner Chauvin Frank. Just my little peace of mind. And, life just sometimes is not fair. You're a chair of two committees. You need to start taking responsibility for that. Thank you so much. I will be voting in favor of this. This shouldn't be going on for as long as it is. And thank you, Trinidad de Ramo, for your hard work. Thank you.
Okay, can we please stick to process questions? Commissioner Chauvin. And you've already had, have you had 2 comments?
Yeah, but they haven't been the full time. So do I yield my time back each time? I mean, since I'm the center of this conversation in strong regard,
20 seconds. You have 20 seconds.
I again have to correct Commissioner Trindade Duramo. Again, the language was not to work together. It was to negotiate as negotiators. Okay. Where does negotiation take place? There was none. There's no negotiation here. It's a simple, matter of fact procedure. No negotiations.
All right, time's up. I think that's silly technicalities. We all know what that meant. We would hope that you would collaborate. We're going to talk about that later, not anymore tonight. Commissioner Fields, you have 20 seconds. You've had 2 comments.
Yeah, I'm elated that Commissioner Sycamore, has corrected me. Thank you so much for that. And, I will definitely reference Frank as Commissioner Chauvin. So just want to get that out the way. Secondly, we were in favor of Whitlow's, having these changes. And that's something we were going to vote in favor of until Commissioner Chauvin said it's best to protest to make sure that the entity has some stuff on the line. And so that's when we decided to protest them, in order to make sure that I'm sorry, my dog continues to bark. We protested
16 seconds
over. Commissioner Chauvin,
I don't care. We can vote in favor of it, but I wish that Commissioner Chauvin, if you wanted to chair this committee and make things happen in the way that you feel are best, that you would have done that, because now my leadership is being undermined and I don't have time to commit to that's going to be overruled.
So I apologize. Your time is up.
Time. It's up. Thank you. Good night.
Okay. Y'all, I know that we all have differing opinions. I'm not going to give the spiel of let's all get along. Please be respectful of one another. I'm not calling out anyone in particular because this whole conversation was a bit disrespectful. So we clearly need to talk more about collaboration because, again, y'all get ready. Renewal season is around the corner. And Commissioner Chauvin, you can't work alone on this. You're going to have a lot of liquor licenses. So we need to make sure lines of communication are open. We need to make sure we are trusting and hearing from the ABR committee and the chair of the ABR committee. Would also instruct you, Commissioner Fields, to keep the lines open. We need to make sure we are very clear on the process. The commission can vote on this. We are the body that votes on this, that ABCA looks at. They do not look at the ABR committee. We look at the ABR committee for their recommendations on this. Not taking any more comments. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes with 7 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention.
Madam Chair, I think people have left. I think Commissioner Handerhan has left the.
Oh, sorry. Yep. So 6 yeas, 0 nays, 1 abstention. I apologize. Thank you for counting for me. Okay. Are there any other items for new business? Please tell me no.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Are there any further comments? Hearing none, I adjourn this meeting at 9:47 p.m. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.